Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we have yet again another YouTube pod combo with this sexy bitch. We have Maria B on here,
That's
and
me.
she is, if you guys are watching on YouTube, by the way, like check out the hair. She is the hottest. We were just talking about her hair. She went from doing keratin treatments to now just letting it be how it is, and I think she looks fucking amazing. So, Maria,
Actually
welcome to the
washed 20 minutes ago.
and I want to just kind of like intro you guys to Maria. She's amazing. She's worked in aesthetics for how long, Maria?
Almost a decade now.
Okay.
So like 8 years total.
The youngest looking bitch you'll ever see who's worked in aesthetics for 10 years.
Because I started at 25. That's the secret.
Correct.
Actually, 24, yeah.
So we'll talk everything today, like prevention, like how you can look like a hot bitch like Maria and all that jazz. So Maria, tell us like a little bit about you.
Okay, so my professional background. So I actually went to school for communications and anthropology. Absolutely not related at all to what I do now. I just actually kind of took a job at a med spa like 8 years ago just to get a job after college to teach me to sit still because I don't know how to do that. Still didn't work. But so that's why I initially took that job. And then I realized I loved the industry and wanted a chance. And there wasn't really much for me left in Boston at the time. So I moved out to Vegas with my best friend 5.5, almost 6 years ago. And that, Well, I know I was getting to that. I was talking about the work side of it. I met Celia in the process on a Taco Tuesday. That was there. We had lots of tacos and lots of tequila. That was the thing. But yeah, so I moved out here just kind of like for a fresh start. It wasn't good for me back home. I just wanted something new. And I knew that Vegas would either make or break me. And I just wanted to kind of go into the heart of aesthetics and be where it's super competitive and super saturated to make sure that I was in the right industry. And my 5-year plan was to have my own facility, which happened in 3 or 4 months. I got all of my promotions and I was running a full med spa by the time I was 25 in Vegas.
Because you're amazing.
Well, and just because I'm a psychopath that works too much and no one else will put in the effort like I do, probably has a lot more to do with it. But yeah, so, and then I actually just left that. I was with that company for 7 years. We did all non-invasive. So Botox fillers, cool sculpting, laser hair removal, therapies, like a skin tightening treatment. We did BBL with not Brazilian butt lift. It's a broadband light, which is helps like hyperpigmentation and stuff. And then I wanted to make this switch into something a little bit more surgical. So I actually took some time off this winter just because I was been there for 7 years. So I had a bunch of PTO. So I was just kind of realized I wasn't going to go on a vacation anytime soon. So I just took some PTO for myself to like organize my house. And then an opportunity was presented to me at this new practice that's like cutting edge, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We do non-invasive awake liposuction and their results are incredible. And just a disclaimer, because I know everybody's going to ask, I have not had any work done, which I know seems kind of like hypocritical. I have had plenty of injections in my face, which we will talk about, and I am due, which is why my forehead looks like this right now. But I've had fillers and stuff in my face. I've never had any plastic surgery yet, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And yeah, that's my background.
You're also a dog mom to my
Oh yes, I'm also a psycho dog mom. My dog has her own closet. I also am a plant mom, which is the new acquisition ever since working from home because I realized I had all this time and not much to do other than working. So now I live in a jungle.
This bitch gets on me all the time on Instagram. Like every day I feel like you're sending me some sort of hint about my fake plants or, like it's a thing. It's a thing we go back and forth on. She's like, we're going to go hit up some farmers markets when I come, some greeneries. I'm like, you're bringing me to the jungle. And you know what? I'm okay with it with you, but not by myself.
Yeah, no, you need a seasoned expert, a seasoned plant purchaser.
Emotional support and a seasoned plant purchaser.
Emotional support dog, that is me. So it's my job. We rely on each other. Puppies and Prozac.
So, like speaking of vacation, I know you just took your PTO, you're in your new career, but with like all the things, like the restrictions lifting, like where the fuck would you go if you could like go anywhere? Like if you're like, okay,
honestly,
vacation, let's do this
anywhere. So last year, my partner and I had 2 trips planned. One was supposed to be to Machu Picchu. So we were going to go to Machu Picchu, and then we obviously had to cancel that because that's when COVID happened. And then we were going to go to Tulum for our anniversary. And the one employee that we have in our shared business, because I have other business ventures, his mother wasn't doing well, so we canceled that. So we had it scheduled this year for our birthdays. And with me just starting my new career, it just wasn't the right time. So I would say Tulum, just because that's been on our bucket list for I think 4 years now, and we've had to cancel it twice. But honestly, I would go anywhere. You could stick me on a fucking plane and I would go anywhere at this point. Like I would go probably to a sewer in Quebec at this point just to get the fuck out of Vegas, which I know seems crazy because I live in Vegas where people vacation, but Celia can kind of vouch for this. When you live here, it's not really Vegas. Like you stay home, you kind of don't mingle with the whole Vegas thing. Like I went out last week with the girls, went to a pool party, which I hadn't done in I think 4 or 5 years, because when you live here, it's like, why am I going to spend $20,000 on champagne? I mean, I'm never going to do that, but I mean, someone else can do it, which they did, but it's like, it just kind of seems pointless.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't go to the strip. Like when you live there,
right.
Especially when you're in Henderson or whatever, like Summerlin especially, because it's a shit show to get to the strip. But it's like that's the last thing you kind of want to do. Like you'd rather go hiking, you'd rather go to the grocery store, you'd rather go get your nails done than go to the damn strip because it's crazy. There's a lot of tourists.
It's all tourists, which is fine. But like my biggest thing too, and you can also vouch for this, like when you're a female in here and you're like somewhat attractive, it's just like they're all fucking piranhas. Do you know what I'm saying? And my favorite line, and I'm sure you heard this one too, it was always like, you know what happens in Vegas stays here. I'm like, really? So do I, which means I'm gonna have to have the regret of speaking to you for the rest of my life, so you can fuck off. Like that was always line like, oh, what some guys should do. When I was out with my mom, I was out visiting Mariola at work at Twin Peaks. This was obviously forever ago. This was 6 years ago. And some guy was like trying to hit on me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm with my mom right now. And like, granted, I looked like an ogre, like had no makeup on, like was just not, and he was like, well, you know what happens in Vegas stays here. We don't have to tell your mom. And I was like, my mom was like, honey, what's he saying? I'm like, oh my, I was like, listen, I also stay here. So while you can fly home and pretend this never happened to your wife, I will have to live with the regret of even speaking to you in this establishment. So you need to back the fuck off. And my mom was like, are you always that mean? And I was like,
you have to be.
And like, you try not to be, right? You try to be polite. Like I took it off, but like for the longest time I wore an engagement ring. I'm not engaged, but it was just so people would go away. But then it turned into like, I was out with his 2 nieces and some guy was like, oh, nice ring. And they're well-trained. They're like, yeah, my uncle really loves her. Like they just knew, but they were like, who was that man? I was like, I don't know. Like, and it's just like, leave me alone. Like whether I'm single, taken, in a relationship, figuring it out, like don't fucking talk to me, period. I don't want to talk to any of you.
The energy on the strip is like overly sexualized energy. It's like these guys literally walk around with boners and you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yes, we're in Vegas, hashtag Sin City, but when you live there, it's like, I don't know. It's a weird energy. And you're just like, you know what? I'd rather go to Green Valley Ranch and sit by the pool and not be fucking annoyed 24/7, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I've had guys like, where was I? I was at XS and like, of course it was, oh, what you're wearing. First of all, I could walk around fucking naked. Don't touch me. Number one. But I was wearing like, I was wearing a turtleneck bodycon dress. Okay. So literally all you could see was, and it had like cold shoulders. So all you could see was maybe like this, which like, who very sexual. Huh?
They were so loving it. Like they were like, oh my God, it's
well,
like
some guy tried, so you know XS, right? Like the bathrooms in XS. I was walking to go to the restroom and some guy tried to grab me. And I was like, don't fucking touch me. And he was like, you shouldn't be going around here wearing that. And I went to the security guard. I was like, look, I was like, I'm not going to cause a scene. I was like, my partner worked here a very long time ago. I will say something to Steve Wynn if you don't fucking say something to that man. I was like, I'm not going to make a scene. I understand that he's drunk. He's out with his boys. He's in Vegas. I go, but if he thinks he can just fucking touch me, he touched the wrong person. So if you have not spoken to him by the time I come out of this restroom, he's going to be escorted off of the property. He's never going to be allowed back here. I was like, I'm not trying to be a bitch. I was like, but I'm actually handling it well. I was like, he physically grabbed me and tried to bring me into the bathroom. So me being this calm, you're welcome, but fucking say something to him or I will say something to Steve Wynn. And then I don't fucking know Steve Wynn, but just gotta fake it till you make it around here. That's the thing about Vegas. Fake it till you make it. And it's really just who you know.
It's so is. You know, last time I was at XS, I got puked on by a guy.
Oh,
so like, God. I'm just going to say, you know, weird things happen in Vegas. It is the land of all things interesting. We'll put it that way. Anytime you want a freak show, like if you just want to see a circus and you don't want to go to go to the strip, just go to the motherfucking strip. You'll see it all. You'll see it all.
Like, and if you want something even more entertaining, go to Fremont. That's a whole different batch of creatures there. And when I say creatures, I mean that in the nicest way possible. That's a compliment like some 3 months.
Very much so. So you're looking like stunning, radiant, like glowing. Your skin's amazing. Like you just look really happy, very good vibes. Tell us like what the fuck do you do to your face to look so amazing?
Botox.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so I will say I am pretty fortunate. I do have decent skin naturally. So I will say that, but I also like, so my ethnicity, my background, I'm originally from Guatemala, so I'm Latina. And then my mom's Russian. I'm about Moroccan, Spanish, Portuguese. I'm tan and I'm white, right? But so it kind of goes either way. Like, am I going to age like J-Lo or am I going to look like Betty White? Like, we really don't know. So I don't really want to risk that. So I'm all about preventative. Will say I'm like very low maintenance. I literally showered 20 minutes before this because my hair was up in a dirty bun and I wear makeup maybe
Hang
three
on,
times
I
a
need
month.
to say this. This bitch put her lashes on. I've never seen this before. I had to put the microphone up here because this is so dire. She literally took her lashes off the strip thing, and I just saw her like. I've never seen anyone plunk them on like that and have it be so perfect. And I was like, dang, like this bitch does not play. You're
That's
ready.
how you know I don't ever have time and I have to get ready in 30 seconds. Usually I'm in the car. It would be like a last minute, like, oh, we have a client, we have to go meet on the strip. And I'd be like, okay, babe. And I'd like glue my lashes on in a moving vehicle. So me sitting,
I could 100% see it. I could see
yeah.
Irie on your lap. You're gluing your lashes on. Torian's like talking. I could see the whole situation like going down right now. And you're calling a client. I mean, Maria's like, you're just
multitasking queen.
Like next level.
I'm exhausted is what I truly am. Yeah. And so he and I are actually taking some days right now because he has a business venture going on. And I've realized like I've always put everything else, like I don't usually put myself first. It's always my career and my relationship. So like right now I need it, and like you really can't do both, right? It's like, you know, I feel like it's like pick one of three. It's like a good night's sleep, a good exercise regimen, or like a hot bath. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always like you have to like choose. It's like, oh, I guess I'm not fucking sleeping. Like I guess so. It's like I need to get back to my health and my fitness because like it's not even like about looking better. It's about like feeling better. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my like self-love. And like he and I are going to get married. We talk about it, right? Like I always tell him like, I can't date right now, but we'll probably get married. But it's like, I don't have time right now. I'm focused on my career and myself. And like, so is he. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what works for us is that we're both very similar in that sense that we came from nothing and we'll do anything for everything. But like the biggest thing that helps me is just not worrying about things that I can't control. And I know that seems like fucking stupid, but drinking tons of water, not letting things affect me. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that that's not your skincare routine, Maria, but it's like just,
oh, it is.
But there's so much bullshit every day. Like I just had a patient earlier who was upset with me because she got her confirmation email the day that she booked her appointment, which had all the information for her appointment. And she was upset that we didn't remind her the day of. And so she was trying to blame us. And she's like, well, you're booking 3 months out. I said, I understand our surgeons are very busy and talented. I apologize. You know, she's like, well, I got in before in like 4 days. I was like, right, there was a last minute cancellation. Like you can keep checking back, but unfortunately I can't. But she was mad at us because we sent her the confirmation 2 days in advance to make sure she was prepared for a consultation. Like, you see what I'm saying? But like that stuff like that, it's like, I used to let that really upset me with my patients. Like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad they missed their appointment. It's, you missed your appointment. I'm sorry. And that the instructions weren't clear when it said video conference, here's your link. But like, you missed your appointment. I can't let that stress me. Like, sorry, I feel bad. I'll get her in sooner. But like, and she's like, well, I want my surgery next month. It's like, okay, but that's not going to happen. If we're booking out 3 months for consultations, we're booking out 5 months for surgeries. And what people don't understand is you don't want to go to a restaurant. You don't want to go to a med spa. You don't want to go to a practice that has full availability, because what does that tell you? That tells you that they suck.
No
Do you
one
know what I'm saying?
Shit. Yeah, no
exactly. Like if you walk into a restaurant on a Friday night at 7 p.m. and there's not a single person, I mean, granted, we'll pretend COVID isn't a thing, but like BC, before COVID, like if you walked into a restaurant and there was no one there on a Friday night, you would be alarmed, because there should be, right? Like there's something wrong in the kitchen. There's rats, right? Like you're not going to walk into Mastro's on a Friday night at 7 p.m. without a reservation. You're just not. It's not going to happen. If there's full availability, that's because the building is about to burn down and there's rats in the kitchen. Like you know what I'm saying? So, but my biggest thing is preventative. Like the energy around you, what you consume I think is also important. Like your diet. Like I don't watch a lot of TV, really. I only have a TV in my downstairs great room because the wall looked weird without it. I don't think I've turned it on in 3 weeks. Like I was like, oh, I should probably get an 80-inch TV in that room because it's big, but like I don't turn it on. I watch, and when I do, because like I'm very, very passionate about my political views, which I won't bring on here because half the people won't like them, so I'll leave those alone. But like that's what I focus my energy on, because I think that we can be a thing for change. So anything that I'm consuming with media, I try to look at both sides of things. But like, if I'm watching a movie, it's probably something stupid and mindless, or I'm probably watching like the Gossip Girl for the 8,000th time. Like for me, XOXO Gossip Girl. But
I
like
feel
for
like,
me,
would you be a Blair or Serena, or like who would you be?
I don't, probably like a Dan Humphrey.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Shut the fuck up. You would not be a Dan Humphrey. There's no way.
no, I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know, because the books are just, so I was an OG Gossip Girl fan. I read the books, so like I
Oh,
could
girl,
be a
I
Dan.
read all the books. Like I read them like in the car.
Can we talk about how Jenny was not what she was supposed to be? Because Jenny was mousy and bald and huge tits, and that's not what she was on the show. Like that's
the whole
that's
show
a lie.
they casted it so weird. Like even I hate to say this because I love Blake Lively. I did not picture Blake Lively.
Oh, I could picture her, but like also I couldn't picture Rufus as Rufus, because in the book Rufus is ugly and fat, and he was like kind of hot on the show. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was, I would say if I was anyone, I would probably be Cece, the grandma. It's not the grandma's name. That's like my goal, either to be the grandma or the mom. What's the mom's name?
Oh my God, wait, the mom of who? Serena?
Serena, yeah. Lily Vanderwoodson.
I totally was like,
I would be Lily Vanderwoodson.
that would be you. That would totally be you.
Like mine is the whole I didn't have a trust fund growing up thing, but I would be like the self-made Lily Vanderwoodson. Like that's my like life goal. Like people like, why do you work so hard? I'm like, I literally just want to be a socialite, start my own nonprofit, and save the fucking world while I wear my Hermes. Like that's all I want. I want to make it, like I want to save the world. I want to build orphanages, but like I'm gonna be wearing Chanel while I do it, and that's okay. That's, you know, I lead a double life, and
of course
I come from nothing, so I know what it's like, but I want everything. And that's,
you're gonna be like the older hot bitch who is dripping in designer and diamonds, and
Samantha Jones, I'm coming for you.
looks like she's never aged a day in her life, like giving back, doing charity. And I could just totally see it. You'd be like, some kid will come up to you and you're like, take my Chanel purse and keep it. Let me just empty out my wallet real quick. I could totally see it.
Or I'd probably empty out my wallet and keep the bag, or be like, hey, go sell this, get some groceries for your family. Yeah. That's how I've always, I mean, I foster, that's the other thing to talk about. I also foster homeless dogs, help place them into homes. Like I keep busy. I don't know when I sleep. I do sometimes, not very often, but you know, that's where this comes from. These bags are not Chanel. these are lack of sleep. We'll get there. But yeah, so I mean, my biggest thing is preventative. I started Botox at 24, and which is, everyone thought I was crazy, which I mean, I am, so whatever. And really it was just to try it out. So like I worked in a med spa environment. I was a receptionist. So I come from a restaurant background, right? So my thing is, you can't explain the food if you haven't tasted it, right? Like you got to know a dish to explain it, like to an extent. Like I can look at people who get Botox and I can see it, but like, I just want to know firsthand, because even though I wasn't a consultant, I wasn't talking to people about it, I was the first person like, oh my gosh, you know, so it was just like, I was the front line of the company,
basically. Like people are
exactly like right front and right. Just like people don't realize like hostesses in a restaurant are very important. Like, yes, they only see you, but like they're your first impression. So that was kind of like my thought process. And I was like, you know, I want to try it out just to see what it feels like, just to see like if I get bruised, like just to see what it feels like. Some people ask me, and like, I was 24 at the time, but I did have some static lines. So like when my face wasn't moving, I had like little itty bitty lines, right? They were there, and that was fine. But I was like, you know what, let me just try it out. It's not permanent. If I hate it, I never do it again. Like no harm, no foul, right? And so that was that was the biggest lie I ever told myself. I was like, I'm just going to try Botox once. Yeah, no, I literally have an appointment this week. So like my forehead has been moving for 4 days. This is unacceptable. Like, and my thing is like, I don't like it to move. And my favorite thing that my patients would always say is like, but you don't need any of that. Like, yeah, because it's already on my fucking face. Like, what if you came in here and I looked like a roadmap? Like, you wouldn't take me seriously. That's like you.
Can we talk about that real quick? Because, okay, I just got to say this, because when you were talking about that, like coming in, seeing the face of the company and looking like a hot mess. And there was this plastic surgeon who I went to who was just full of wrinkles, didn't look like he did anything to himself. And I didn't want to go see him because I'm like, ew, if you can't look good as a plastic surgeon who does a lot of dermatology, you know, like lots of Botox and aesthetics, why the fuck would I go see you? And so now when I go to a dermatologist or a clinic that does, you know, med spa, I look at the people who work there. I'm like, do they have wrinkles? You know, I look at the front desk first. Yeah. Because if they look like hot mess, why would I go there? You know, like why would anyone go there?
Exactly. And like, my thing is like, I'm all about, you know, embracing natural beauty. So like, I say this 99% of the time, and you know, this, I'm not just like talking shit. I really don't ever wear makeup. Like I truly don't, because I like to let my skin breathe, which is another reason why I have good skin. It's I'm not constantly putting shit on it. And when I do, I use like mostly mineral makeup and like natural stuff. But like another reason why I do that is because then you can actually see my skin, right? Because if you come in and my face looks flawless, like, oh, well, she has fucking 37 pounds of makeup on. Like, that's why she looks good. But it's like, if you can, like, I'm wearing BB cream right now and like a little bit of highlighter, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you can actually see that it's my skin. So that helps me in my field. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had not a BBL. I haven't had that. I have a little booty. We can talk about it another day, but like I've had BBL, broadband light, to like help with hyperpigmentation. And like my thing was I just tried it out to see what it felt like, right? Because I was the consultant and I was like, I had all these red spots and all this undertone that I thought was just part of my skin. But like I literally had a patient who hadn't seen me in a few weeks and he came in and he was like, he walked by my office and he goes, what the? He was like, why do you look like you're 12? And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you for noticing. He's like, your face looks like a baby's ass. And I was like, thanks. Like, I won't say his name because I hip hop, but I'm like, thanks, buddy. And then, but he was like, whatever you did, I need that. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, is you have to believe in your product. Like and that was what took me so long to make the transition to plastics, because I don't agree with a lot of the ethics in plastics. A lot of plastic surgeons are very like, they think they're God, right? They're the creme de la creme, they're superior, and they take creative liberties and do what they feel is best for the patient. And I don't agree with that, because patients are spending, I mean, in my practice, anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, right? You should get exactly what the fuck you're asking for. You shouldn't wake up and be like, wait, I literally said I wanted a little lift in my breast. Why the fuck do I look like Dolly Parton? Do you know what I'm saying? And a lot of plastic surgeons do that. Like, well, we know you said this, but we thought this would look better. Like, that doesn't matter. You do what the patient asks. Then if it doesn't look like what they want, you like, well, we did what you asked for. We thought this would look better, but we didn't want to go again. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like to practice now, is like, you're fully awake for the whole procedure. We use like local numbing and stuff. So you're not like feeling a lipo. Yeah. Oh, you're fully awake. Like full on conversations, bring a playlist, like talk to the doctor. Like it's a very like, it's kind of like a med spa environment, like it's super chill, but like our practice is insane. Like the results, I've talked about them. You've seen them. Like it's what my doctors do there. I'm like,
amazing. Like,
and like, these are my patients, right? And I'll see their after photos and I'm like, the fuck? Like, how do we, and like my best friend, she'll send me, she's like, do you see this? I'm like, yes, it's one of my patients. Like, how do you guys do this? I'm like, I don't do shit. I just tell them how it works. I was like, I don't do shit. Like these surgeons are incredible. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the thing, is like, but you're still getting those results. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's the environment too. Like we're sterile. Like we've never had a single infection, which for a plastic surgery practice, that's actually huge. We've never had an infection, not a single one, any complications, nothing, which says a lot about like what we do as a practice, but also the results are good. Cause you usually got to pick one. It's like safe or good results, right? Like, yeah, but like you can do both. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's you, but you have to believe in what you do. Like, so as I was saying, like I haven't had a BBL yet, a Brazilian butt lift, but I plan to, because I have hip dips. It's the shape of my pelvis. It is what it is. I used to be probably like maybe 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I always thought it was like my weight, right? I thought it was like, oh, it's my love handles. I've lost that weight. Now my hip dips are even more pronounced than they were before. Like I can't, I mean, I'm sure I could lose another 5 pounds if I felt like it, but like, I'm not at a point where like I'm overweight. So this is the shape of my bones. Like my trainers have told me, my doctor, it's like, and it's one of those things that I think it needs to be normalized. Like there's certain things that you can fix. Like I was heavier. I've lost weight. There's certain things I did on my own, right? Like I can tone my legs, I can do certain things, but I physically, it is impossible to get rid of my hip dip. So either I accept it, and that's fine. Like accept the body that you have. That's okay. You can change it or you can shut the fuck up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like those are really your only options. But like for me, I'm going to have to take that surgical route, and I'm okay with that because I've done all the other necessary things. You know, my fitness journey, I work out, like you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm just like, I can't get a butt. Like I can grow a butt, but
well, I was like
the
thinking
more I grow my butt, the more it pronounces my hip dips. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like, I don't really want to grow my butt.
Well, and like even just thinking about that, I'm like, there really is no exercise to like, and you could look online for it, but there really isn't, because
they have like hip dip minimizers. It's a lie. Do you know Brett Contreras? He's like the glute god. He's like on Instagram. He's like, he has a PhD and like, even he like did a whole thing. He was like, stop buying into this bullshit. You cannot out exercise hip dips. They are part of your frame. Either you accept them or you get surgery. And he wasn't saying go get surgery,
it's not
right?
Like a muscle. It's more like
it's literally the shape of my pelvis. Like that's just like how, and that's what I try to explain to people. I'm like, just like some people are pear shaped, some people are apple shaped. Like I will never be heavier on the bottom than I am on the top. I'm naturally top heavy. That's my body. Just like how some people, like I have patients, you know, they're getting a fat transfer of the breast, and like I won't name names, but like I had a patient, she was 5'4", 5'5", and close to 200 pounds, right? So not the smallest woman. She was still an A cup. So what are you going to tell her, to gain more weight to make her boobs bigger? No, that's just not where she carries her weight. She had a nice juicy butts and like really thick thighs, like looked great. Do you know what I'm saying? Like probably, you know, she said I can tone up a little bit. Like she's like, I like my frame. She's like, it's just I can't. She's like, I tried to gain this weight thinking maybe it would eventually go to my boobs. She's like, so now I'm a regular A instead of a triple A. She's like, but now the rest of me looks like a tub of lard. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's her frame, and that's okay. But like, and she didn't want implants. That's another thing. The practice I work, we don't even use silicone at all. We don't use silicone. We don't do implants at all. We don't believe in them because the dangers that are associated with them. And honestly, you've impacted a lot with the journey that you had. Like I don't talk about you, like your name, but I'm like, I have a friend who had
I'm very like open about it. Like, it's
no, but do you know what I'm saying? And like, people are like, that's not real. I'm like, no, I have a friend who's very close to me who's done it. And like, I honestly was going to get breast implants because of laxity and stuff, but it's like, I can't, knowing what happened to you, and like, you're one of my closest friends. Like, I can't do that knowing that it's a thing. Like, it's just not, like, you have to outweigh the risk and the reward. Like, would it be rewarding? Yeah. Would my tits look perfect? Obviously. But like, is the risk worth it of like breast implant illness and autoimmune diseases and not being able to use certain face washes because you're going to break out? Like,
well,
I'll take my side. Thank you.
so much more than that too. It's like, yeah, you look
Oh,
hot.
I know. But you know what I'm saying? Just on the
You're
surface.
bedridden. So it's like, what's the fucking point of looking hot when you can't even leave your house?
Right. Like,
so
exactly. Like, oh, my tits look so great. My pillow is enjoying them. Like, what the hell is the point? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, am I going to go meet the man of my dreams? Like, no. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't do it for other people. I do it for myself because I had some body issues growing up. I developed breasts super, super young. So I was never comfortable in my body because I was a 34C when I was 12. Okay.
Oh,
like, that's not, I used to wear a size like 10, 12 in jeans, like kids jeans, not adult jeans, like kids size 12 slim with a 34C. So I was never comfortable. And it's one of those things, like, I've gotten over my insecurities. I've worked to love my body in certain ways, but there's certain things that, like, if you either need to accept it or you need to change it. And I'm big about that, whether it's in your life, whether it's your appearance. If you are not satisfied with something, you change it or you shut the fuck up. You don't, like, I'm not going to sit and complain about my hip dips. Like, I hate them so much. Like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? Either I'm going to accept that this is the shape of my pelvis, or I'm going to get fat put in them in surgery. Those are my two options. Do you know what I'm saying? And it just needs to be normalized. Like, plastic surgery everyone isn't going to look like the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying? Or like Nicki Minaj or like Cardi B, love them all, but they were great 7 surgeries ago. Like, there's a difference between like natural enhancement, embracing your beauty and just enhancing who you are, versus looking like a different creature. And to each their own, because I personally don't do that. But like, if that, my views on plastic surgeries, if it makes you happy, then do it. Would I do that? No. Am I about to get a rib removed and also add silicone implants and all this shit to my ass? Absolutely not. No, I don't think it's worth it. For me, for the look that I want, I don't think it's worth it. If you want to do that, by all means, fill her up, baby. That is your body. That is your choice. Do I agree with it from a safety standpoint? No, not with the knowledge that I have, but ultimately you're a grown ass adult. You make your decisions and you deal with the consequences.
I love that standpoint, that viewpoint, because there's so many people out there who, and you see it online so much, where people jump on people and they attack them for like, you know, wanting to do certain things. It's like, let people fucking live, let them, you know, figure out stuff for themselves and be happy with, you know, whatever it is they're doing, instead of trying to, and I think that's just a very mature way to look at things. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's just a grown ass, you know, adult's way of looking at things. And there's just a lot
and
of,
even the same thing when it comes to like permission, right? Like, this is a conversation that's very, very touchy in my industry. Like, oh, I have to ask my husband for permission, right? And it's not really permission, because there's certain things. Like, there's a difference if it's like you need permission to do anything with your body. That is a toxic ass relationship. Get the fuck out. If you need to ask for permission to like, no. But if you're like, hey, I'm about to spend, I don't know, $20,000 out of our mutual bank account, like, is that okay with you? Like, yes, you should consult with your partner. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think people misconstrue support and permission, right? Because you're not really asking for permission from your husband. It's more like you're asking for support, right? And I always tell my patients, I'm like, here's the thing. I'm like, you do not need permission from anyone. If you want to do this, we're going to make this happen. You don't need permission from a single fucking person, but support is going to help you throughout this healing process. So if your husband wants to support you, yes. But if you need your husband's permission, that's a different conversation. And I won't say like, because and that's the other thing. Other people's relationships are different, right? Like, who am I to say? Maybe she asked for permission, but that's because she broke all of her limbs and she hasn't worked in 10 years and she has no income. And you know what I'm saying? So maybe she does ask for permission because they're about to, and you don't know that people's situation. So I used to always be like, you don't have to, but like sometimes you do. And it's not about permission. It's more about just like respect. Like, would you be mad if your husband went to go buy a $30,000 motorcycle and didn't tell you because the kids
all the time, like,
because your kid's tuition is due? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. And what I told when he and I were together, you know, at the beginning, because I would always have people be like, and there's an extent to it. Like, if you have to ask your husband for permission to get $300 worth of Botox, like, and it's not a financial thing. It's more of like, is he going to allow me to do this to my face? Like, he can fuck right off as far as I'm concerned. But like, when we first started dating, I was like, look, I do what I want. I make my own money. I expect you to do the same. And this was like, I think our second date, but this is what I tell every guy. And some guys are like, this bitch is crazy. I'm like, yeah, bye. Like, I don't have time to waste. Get the fuck out of my face. But I was like, look, I make my own money. I do well for myself and I intend to spend it however I want. That's why I work as much as I do. I don't ever want anyone to tell me what to do with my money. So if this progresses, meanwhile, this is like second or third date. So, I mean, lasted for 5 years. So we did something right. But it's like, if that's going to be a problem, like I will never ask permission. We're going to have a joint account as long as all of our mutual expenses are paid, mortgages, kids, doctor's appointments, as long as all that shit is paid. I'm like, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your money because I'm doing whatever I want with mine. Will I understand you buying another vehicle? No. Are you going to figure out why I bought a third pair of Louboutins this week? No, but it doesn't matter because it's my money. Do you know what I'm saying? As long as the mutual expenses are covered, I think you should be able to do whatever you want with your money without disrespecting your partner, right? Like, again, there's a difference. You're not taking your kid's college fund and going to gamble it in Vegas and losing it all. Because that happens here very regularly, right? You are taking money that you would have spent on something else and spending it on yourself for something that you want, that you deserve, that is ultimately going to make you happier. So what's the problem here? Do you know what I'm saying? It's about making yourself happy.
It's a very healthy relationship, I think. And it's a very like healthy way to look at things. Like we have that in our house too, where it's like, if you're going to go buy a brand new BMW, yes, I think it's important to talk to the other person. We have that established. Like you can't just go out and buy a car without, talking about it, discussing it. And he's even said, he's like, I would never tell you not to do something. He's like, it's just important that we're on the same page with how we, spend money. He's like, but if you're spending like $500 out of our joint account, he's like, whatever, that's no big deal. But like, if you're spending 3 or 4 or 5,000 in a day, that's going to be an issue, So it's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's all about that respect, and everybody's like metrics are different, right? So that's the thing, is that you never shop or judge with your own wallet. In my head, I'm like, if my husband was talking to me about $300, I tell him to go fuck right off, right? Yeah. But again, I put myself in a position where I can spend that. Now, I'm not about to go drop 10,000 without thinking about it. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, you can talk to someone else. Like some of my patients, like again, I can't speak of them because HIPAA is. But like, I work out of a luxury practice in Agora Hills, which is, if you guys are familiar with California, it's a very nice area. Do you know what I'm saying? So demographics are different, right? Like I have TV producers, like they're making $3 million a year. So for them to drop 10K without talking to their husband isn't a big deal. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like they just put it on their black card, but that's the thing, is you can't judge other. And then another thing I hear from like people who, they're like, well, they should do good with that money. You can do whatever the fuck you want with your money. Okay. Do I live in a nice neighborhood? Yes. Do I drive a nice car? Yes. Do I have nice things? Yes. Did I grow up with these things? No. Was I poor as shit as a kid? Yes. Am I going to apologize for my success? No. Because I put myself in a position where I want to be. Like when I worked in a practice physically, like when I live in Southern Highlands. That's a nice part of town. People like, oh, Southern Highlands, excuse me. Yeah, excuse you. What? Yeah. What? Excuse you. What's the problem here? Like, oh, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? Like, yeah, Nick Carter lives down the street. You think I talk to Nick Carter? No, I don't. But I have seen him at the market though. Fact. I saw him at the market. He literally like, it was funny because I was like, ew, that looks like Nick Carter's dad. And then I was like, oh my God, it's Nick Carter. Is he actually, girl.
He needs Botox.
He has not been doing preventative maintenance. But it's weird because so he has like the sweet baby boy like face kind of, but like dad bod. You know what I'm saying? Which like is fine. But we went to Backstreet Boys, I think 2 or 3 years ago for my birthday. That's another cool thing about living in Vegas. You can just go to Backstreet Boys on a whim because like they're performing on the strip, So we went and they were like doing all their dances, but it was like kind of like watching your dad on TikTok, like do these dances, but like doing them well. And it was just like very uncomfortable. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you're like 50. Like, this is
weird. Okay. That, though. Like, I still feel like I'm stuck in the 90s some days because I'm like, oh, Nick Carter. When you said he has a dad bod now, I'm like, I can't imagine because I remember.
Because he's a dad. Like,
preserved in the 1990s for me. Like in my brain, he's sealed and preserved in the 1990s when he was hot and I had a crush on him. And so like the fact, like I think my mind would be blown if I saw.
No, it was. My friends were like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not handling this very well. I was like, I'm having an out of body experience. Like, cause like the dances were the same, the outfits were the same, like millennium. And I'm like, but they don't look like that. It was almost like a cameo. Like, it just looked like the older version of them. Like it was just weird. Like it was still a great show. I was screaming the whole time, singing every word. Like, had my Backstreet Boys t-shirt on, was like wailing, because like what else are you supposed to do Backstreet Boys concert, but it was just weird because it's like you're kind of old, and that's the other thing I don't get is like, and I know this is going to sound really shallow, but like, whatever, I'm in the industry of preserving yourself and preserving your youth, you have the money. Like and it's not about like being vain. It's about like taking care of yourself, because I feel like we're also aging so fast. Like people don't realize, like, we're better about knowledge of smoking, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get smoker signs, but you're using a straw right now. That's the same damn thing. Do you see what I'm saying? And people don't think about, like, straws weren't as big 100 years ago, right? So like all these things, tanning beds, like all these things are going to age us. All the hormones in the food, we don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like there's all these things. I was looking, one of my childhood best friends posted her niece yesterday for her 14th birthday. And I said to her, I was like, we didn't look like that at 14. She was like, I know. I was like, shit, I don't even look like that now. She's 14. Like she out here looking like a snack in her little Fashion Nova dress and and I'm like,
it's insane. I remember like, back in the day, not even knowing how to use a mascara wand. Like I was 14 and
I still don't. That's why I glue lashes on. I still don't wear mascara.
But it's
what I'm saying? Like these girls are like cut creases and blending. And I'm like,
it's like crazy.
I'm like, I put moisturizer on today, SPF 50. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, but it's like, it's the pressure too. And I think that's a lot of the things where the plastic surgery thing comes from. And it's the pressure. And that's what's hard because like my job is also low key. Like I'm kind of like a crisis counselor, right? Like not intentionally, but it's like, well, because my first thing I always say to a patient is like, oh, tell me what brings you in today. Right. And I've had some patients where I've turned them away and it's not really my business, but like, I'm not going to do something that's not for your best interest. Like I had a patient like, no, I need to lose weight before I do this. Like I'm so fat. And I'm like, you're not at all. I was like, and honestly, you're looking for a fat transfer. So we need fat to transfer. You already are fairly low on your BMI. Like you cannot lose any more weight because we will not be able to do your procedure. Like we would actually prefer you to gain a few pounds. Like, but I feel so disgusting. I'm like, no. And I understand that you've put on a little bit of weight. You haven't been in the gym. So your body doesn't feel like what it is. I'm like, but you want bigger breasts. Like
that's like
we need that fat. And she just wasn't getting it. She's like, I refuse to do the surgery and I was like, and I even said to the surgeon, I was like, hey, just a heads up. I was like, I'm sensing a little bit of body dysmorphia. I was like, she's super sweet, but I was like, I need to make sure that we are on the same page with this patient because here's the thing, we're going to affect her psyche even more, right? If she's already feeling that way and now she's going to spend $20,000, $30,000 and she's going to still not be happy with her body. Like I am not in this business to take your money to fuck you over. I am in this to help you invest your money in yourself to give you what you want. And I think that's what really sets me apart. Like I turn patients away. Like my old practice, we didn't do surgery. It was all non-invasive, but like I would get referrals all the time. Like, oh, my friend Jenny Snow sent me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, well, I can't really confirm if she comes here, And they're like, oh no, she doesn't. She had a consultation with you 3 years ago and you turned her away because you said she wasn't a good candidate. I'm like, well, she wasn't. Like, right, that's why I'm here. Because I will never because here's the thing, you're never going to have 100% satisfaction deal with people. Okay. Never, especially when it comes to their bodies and their appearance. You are never going to make 100% of people happy. It's impossible. You are not pizza. It's not going to happen, right? You're not going to make everyone happy. But in that same breath, it's like, if I know I can't give you what you want, I'm not going to do it because I'm already going to be dealing with people who don't listen to what I tell them and aren't realistic with their expectations. Why am I going to intentionally lie to you, sell you a dream, get your hopes up only to then disappoint you 6 months later? And what I always tell my patients, like, look, I hate to say no. I'm the biggest yes person. You know that in everything in my life, which is something I'm working on. But like, I hate to say no, but I would rather say no to you now and have you be a little bit disappointed and not take $15,000 to $30,000 of your hard-earned money, then take your money, get your hopes up and have you be really pissed off at me in 6 months when we can't provide the results that you were looking forward to. It's not ethical and I won't do it. Like I've had people offer me triple, like I'll pay you triple. I'm like, it's not about the money. My job is to sign you up. That is literally my job description, is to get patients in the door. That's what I do. Right. But I do it with integrity, I do it with honesty, but that's why I have happy patients. Like I still have patients reach out to me for my old practice. Like, well, where are you now? I'll follow you. I'm like, well, you can't because my practice is based out of California now. And we don't do any of the services we offered before. Like we only do surgery. Like, okay, what do I need surgery? And I'll come see you. And it's like, I don't even touch these people. I'm not even the one doing the surgery. I've never held a syringe. I've never injected anybody's face. Like I essentially just process your paperwork and send you the front to book your
appointment. But I will say, because I came to you as a patient, you are amazing with explaining things and also with adding on what people actually need. Like I remember the nasal label folds. I still talk about that to all medical people, but like you were like, okay, this is like what would do this. And I think you should do this. And you're so good at explaining it. And you're really good at envisioning how someone could look their best, but you don't ever like force something, like you're always like, hey, this is how this will make you look, and you explain every step of the way. So I think people feel really comfortable with you because A, you do have integrity, and B, you have a vision for, like, a lot of people in your career field would just be like, oh, you want a fat transfer? Okay. you're more like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, let's go ahead and do this too. Or, like just think about this because it might, balance you and give you more proportion. Like you explain things in a way where you're looking at the whole image. You're not just looking at one thing, and I think a lot of times in your industry, it's so common. And I'll say this because I've been to a lot of people for all sorts of stuff. And here in Orlando, first off, there's a guy a plastic surgeon who I know you don't like him, so I'm not going to name him. But I went to him.
Oh, in Vegas, I know who you're talking about.
You know exactly who I'm talking about. I went to him wanting bigger tits and he goes, absolutely not. You're going to look really fat. And I was like, all right, cool. I was actually glad though that he said that to me because had I gone bigger, I would have had so much more issues getting my implants out. But he was really honest with me and I appreciated that, like the fact, like if I did get,
we actually might be talking about a different surgeon because the surgeon I'm thinking of would never tell you no. So we might be talking about a different surgeon.
Guy. Yeah. So he was just very honest and I was like, okay, well, that means that I'll go back to him because of his honesty. Now, here in Orlando, I went to the first guy who I went to for Botox here, and I haven't had Botox in a long time. I need to go back for more, but the guy who I went to here was just like so weird. He's very popular here, but he just did like kind of what I said. And then he goes, well, what about all the crow's lines around your eyes? Let's do those too. And he made me feel so ugly. I was just like, whoa. Like I walked out of there like
the delivery of it, right? What he should have said was like, look, we're going to do your other parts of your face. And if that's because my thing is, because people are always like, well, what do you think I should do? I'm like, I think you should do whatever makes you happy because there are certain things that you're insecure about that I might not see. And there's might be things that I'm like, because like one of my friends, for example, crow's feet is always like the last thing people do. It's I kind of like my people like, I kind of like my crow's feet. And like, if you like them, then fucking leave them. It's not my fuck, it's your face. It's, and that's what I tell my patients. I'm like, look, my goal is to advise you in the best that I can, but ultimately this is your decision. This is your face. This is your body. This is your money. And this is literally what I say everyone. I'm like, I don't have to look at you every day. So it doesn't really matter. And this is how, like, I always joke around, like, I'm the least professional person. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter what I think. And I say, this is how I speak to my patients, but I keep it very real. I'm like, it doesn't matter what I think because it's not my face. My goal is to make you happy in the skin that you are in, that you are going to see every day, because my opinion literally doesn't matter. I'm going to give it to you as far as like from a professional eye and from a safety standpoint. I will never, ever let you do something that's going to be unsafe or that's going to make you look really absurd, because that's the other thing too. You are a walking billboard for me. If I have you walking out of my practice looking like a fucking toad, no one's going to come to me. And it could be that that's what you asked for, right? And that's okay. But like that's where and that's what people talk about too. They're like, well, what do you like? I would always get this question: what's your face going to look like in 20 years? And this is my answer. Well, hopefully the fucking same. If all goes well, it's going to look like this. That's the whole point. I don't want my face to look different. Like, you've known me for what, 6 years now? My face has looked the same for 6 years. It hasn't changed in 6 years because I'm not trying to change it.
You look better now than you did when I first met you. Like you seriously, you look incredible. I think that, I really do think that women can look better and better as they age. I've seen 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds who take good care of themselves, like all the stuff that you're saying, the preventative stuff, the just really making sure you're dialing in on your care regimen, and they look fucking amazing.
Yes, like, could I be better with my skincare? Yeah, for sure. I'm like the laziest when it comes to that, but it's like, I also offset it. And I also like, I know I'm not the best at washing my face every night, but like if I'm just sitting at my computer and I haven't done anything, I might just like splash some water on. You know what I'm saying? So like, do not come to me for like products. I know some good ones. I have them all. I don't always remember to use them all. But my thing is like, I'm more about like natural things, and I eat good foods. Like I drink, I have a gallon of lemon water right next to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I drink water all day, every day. Like I always have, you know what I'm saying? And that it comes from the inside. If you're eating like, and I'll notice it because I don't really eat bad food, not because it's like, oh, I'm in a diet. I just don't like really like it. I'm very intuitive. Like if I want a cheeseburger, like what was it, Friday? I was like, I kind of want a fucking cheeseburger. And I went, my ass drove to In-N-Out, got an animal protein style single. I was trying to be skinny. And no, just kidding. But also it was like 11 o'clock and I'm like, your ass has no business eating a cheeseburger at 11 p.m. Maria. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I used to deprive myself and I would think about that cheeseburger for fucking months. And all of a sudden now I eat 17 cheeseburgers, 4 pizzas, go on a binge, 3 gallons of ice cream, and I hate myself, right? It's like, eat the goddamn cheeseburger, Maria. You know what I'm saying? So like Friday night, I literally was like, I want a cheeseburger. Went to In-N-Out, got myself, animal protein style, got a side of fries, and I was happy. I mean, my stomach felt a little off Saturday morning, but like, cause I don't eat it all the time and it was 11:30, but like, I got the damn cheeseburger. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I do that every day, my skin's going to show it, right? Like I'm eating, if I'm remembering to eat, I'm eating whole foods. I'm eating real foods. Like I don't really keep like processed stuff in my house. Not cause I don't want it. I like it, but I'm a convenience person. So if there's a bag of chips there, I'm going to eat the
Yes.
whole thing without paying attention. So I
I
just don't
feel
have it in my
like
house.
we could do an entire episode on this because you and I think a lot alike. And we have a lot of the same. I think I posted on Instagram about this actually this past week was I said, part of my binge eating disorder that I had to get over was I kept processed food in the house and I was eating, you start eating and it's out of convenience. You're like, I'm hungry. I'm just going to eat a Reese's. And
And
then
then
next
it's so good. And then you eat the whole, and
yeah,
then it's kind of like, well, I already ate 3, so fuck it. I might as well eat the whole bag. And like, I think that's how we are as people. Cause like, that's the thing I tell my patients too. Cause like, they're always like, well, what are the side effects? And I always make it into a joke because like, my thing is humor, right? Because I also know what I do is very scary for a lot of people, right? You've been insecure in your body, your whole life. You want to change it. You're about to take the step. It's a really big step to make an appointment for consultation. People don't realize that, but like,
right.
granted, I'm not the surgeon, right? But because think about it, there's so many people like, well, how long do you think about this? Like, I've been thinking about it for like 6 years. Like, what made you decide, finally decide to make a call? They're like, I'm at a point where I'm ready to take the step for myself. Like plastic. And that's another thing I like about this is my patients really want this. Before I was like, oh, I kind of like just like learned about, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, this is a big decision. So like, and this is what I tell my patients. I'm like, look, this is a life-changing decision. And I'm not going to dumb it down and make it seem like it's not a big deal. This is very, very important. So I need you to be comfortable every step of the way. Like if you're not comfortable with me, I need you to tell me that because no, I'm not going to do your surgery, but I'm going to hold your hand until you get to surgery. You need to be comfortable coming to me, asking me questions. I don't want you to be shy because like you're about to invest a lot of money and these results are permanent. This isn't like a hair color that you can just take out because like it didn't dry right. You know what I'm saying? This is your fucking body. So I need you to understand this decision that you're making is very big. And so like I talk them through it. I go through all this because when patient, like I would rather have a no than like an unsure. Like when you give me that yes, I want it to be because you are so sure and that is what you want and that is what you need. Like there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like my patients will call me like, no, Maria, please let me pay. Like I want to give you my money. Like please, please, please. It's like, and I'm like, I'm kind of busy right now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how bad I want you to want it. Not because it's because I'm so busy too, but it's like you should want it that badly.
Yeah.
This
And
is
it's not like a hell yes, like a fuck yes. It should be a no. Like if it's
exactly. Like I want people text me every day. Like I'm freaking out. I'm so excited. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, yes, girl. Like, yes, we got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I have to, it's a big deal. And like, I think that's the problem is like, I'm too much of a people pleaser, honestly, is what makes me do so well in my job. But I genuinely care about my patients. I wish I had more time to care for them than I do because I'm so damn busy. Like I still have my old patients hitting me up. Another thing I'm doing that I'm going to talk to about is I'm actually transitioning and starting my own consulting firm. Like on the side, I'll still be working for them. They're they're going to be my main client, but I'm going to start, because I actually have a lot of people reach out all the time. Like, hey, I know that you don't do these things, but I know the person who's going to do these things is probably like, can I just pay you for like a consult, like on the side? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll just give free advice. Like just ask me some questions. DMs are always open, but now it's kind of like, because before I didn't mind because it was like I couldn't help patients in other places. Now it's like I can refer you to other people and I can make recommendations virtually. Do you know what I'm saying? People are offering to pay me. Like before it was like, I'm not going to take your money, but now it's like, you're not coming to my practice. So like, because I don't work in a practice that does those things anymore. So like, if you want to pay me for advice, like I'll gladly do it. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of just sort of started like, because people kept asking me like, well, you're not there anymore. Can I still hit you up for a consult? I know they used to be free, but like, I'll pay you for your time so you can tell me what I need next. And it's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's so flattering to be in that position and that's another reason I had to take a step back from my relationship is because I'm at a point right now where I can pivot my career. Before I wasn't, I was very in my med spa. I ran that med spa. That was all I did. I couldn't even look at another med spa without my job being in jeopardy. Like I couldn't sneeze in the direction of somewhere else. It was very non-compete, very strict, which is fine. They're very well known. They're very reputable. I understand why they have the practice they do. I completely agree with them, but I was also 25 at the time. Like I'm in my 30s now. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be in the same place. Like I'm trying to level up and do other things. I'm going to start doing like training for other consultants in other practices on like how to do your job with integrity, because that's the biggest thing. Like when I started in Vegas, that practice was doing like 40 grand a month, which is a joke. By the time I left, they were doing over $200,000 a month. Right. Like, so that, and when we went from like 40 to over 100 my first month there, and they were like, Maria, what are you doing? And I was like, huh? I had no sales experience prior to this, right? I was in restaurants. So I'm like, being nice to people. Like, no, like, what's your secret? I'm like, telling people the truth and
like
not telling them what they want to hear.
totally, it's like an energy. It's when people feel comfortable, they're gonna spend money. And so like
Exactly.
you have that essence. And honestly, like if anyone's listening to this, you already know Maria has the gift of talking. There is no shyness here. I remember
Gift of garb.
met Maria, I like fell in love with her. I was like, she's so awesome. Like, you just have such a great personality. And I think that that's
But it's
that
also genuine too. And you know that this is not an act. This isn't me like acting on camera to be all peppy. Like,
this is you.
no, this is literally who I am. Like, I'm an asshole 99% of the time. I'm gonna swear. Like, I was just think I was like, am I allowed to swear on a podcast? I fucking hope so, because I'm gonna do it. Like, this is who
Oh,
I
it's
am.
rated explicit, bitch.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. And like, like, I'm not in a like, I'm not saying everyone has to like me, because they're not going to. Like, I'm a lot. My energy is a lot, and I know that for a lot of people. But like, if you don't like me, it's not like we'll get the fuck over it. Like, but why is it? Because I'm too talkative? Like, okay, maybe we just don't vibe. That's fine. Like, I know enough about myself that I'm not doing anything like terrible as a human that would give you an actual reason not to like me. If it's just like a compatibility with like personalities, like, it's cool. There's a lot of people I don't fucking like either.
Like, I love people like you. Like, we kind of like feed off each other's energy. We laugh, we have fun. Like, that to me is everything. And it's like, I maybe wouldn't gravitate so much towards someone who's really quiet. So it's like, everyone's going to have their cup of tea. Some people like that, and like, your energy is so contagious. Like, you just have this very, like, just a really good fucking energy. And I feel like people feel that and they sense that and they feel safe with you. So they're going to be like, okay, well, Maria, is just, they just feel comfortable with you. And so they don't have a problem spending money. It's like, and some people would, they'd be like, she's too loud or whatever, but that's really not your people anyway. Like, they have their own.
Right. My thing is like, and I mean, I'll kind of tailor my consultations to people. Do you know what I'm saying? And some people just are very like, this is what we do, but like, I'm still going to be my peppy self because that's my personality. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not an act. That's just like, this is how I speak. Like, I can't be like, okay, so we're going to do your, like, that's uncomfortable for me. And you're definitely not going to sign up, because like, I'm going to be so uncomfortable. I'm not going to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to explain things. Like, I have enthusiasm. Like, when I'm fucking talking about my plants, when I'm talking about my dog, like, this is just literally my personality. Like, I've been this, like, if you look at home videos of me when I was a child, like, granted, I'm not speaking English in them, so I'd have to translate for you, but like, it is the same exuberant energy that I have now. Like, and my mom, growing up, she'd be like, you'll outgrow this one day. Like, that was always a joke. Like, you're gonna run out of energy one day. And it's like,
You're like,
I haven't had coffee today. I haven't had anything today. This is all I've drank today is water. That's it. This is just literally who I am. You know what I'm saying? You can ask anyone who's around me. Like, I'm like this the moment I open my eyes, the second I go to sleep. Like, this is just my energy. Like, it's not an act. Like, my boss now is my old boss, actually. So that's what's really cool. The new company I'm with, she was the one who gave me my big break as a consultant 6 years ago. And she had reached out to me. She's like, Maria, I know what you're capable of, but I know you'd be great. She's like, I know how great you were then. She's like, I can only imagine how much you've grown as a consultant now. And you know what I'm saying? And so she was like, I think you'd be really great here. And it's like, I value her opinion because she was my old boss and she would never do anything to fuck me over because she cares about me as an employee. Like, she and I, we've kept in contact over the years. Like, we've FaceTime talking about like life and vacations and bullshit in our practices individual. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's become like a professional friend. But she even said I was like, I didn't even meet the surgeons before I started my job. That I was vouched for by the director of operations and the other consultant. They were like, no, she's coming on board. They held, because I was like, I don't know, I don't want to leave my job. They held that position for me for 3 months while I was deciding if I wanted to take it, which like, I was like, wow, maybe I am pretty good at what I do. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm just like, to me, I just do what I love. And like, it's a job when it comes to paperwork. Let me tell you, it's a job. And like, I've already had 7 patients text me this time. And I'm like, guys, it's my day off. Like, please, I have a separate phone line. I get 1 day off a week or 2, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But she was like, oh, don't worry. I already warned the surgeons about you. And I was like, what? She's like, I just told them that, I was like, I'm a lot. She was like, those are my exact words. Like, she's a lot at first, but like, I promise she's genuine and you're going to love her because you can't help it. Like, she's like, that's what I told them. And I was like, and she goes, what?
She's like, you'll get used to Maria.
Yeah, like, you just kind of got it. But she was like, she's a lot, but it's not an act. Like, that's actually just her personality. She's not trying to kiss your ass. Like, that's just who she is. Like, you'll love her eventually. And if you don't, you'll just have to get over it, because I do. Like, that's what she said. And like, it worked out and it was funny because I was on the phone with our office manager the other day, and I was like, all right, this patient needs to fucking pay, or like, we're taking her off the schedule. I was like, I've been chasing her for fucking days. I cannot do this. Like, her payment was due 3 days ago. And I'm being nice. I was like, but if she doesn't call by this afternoon, like, she needs to be taken off the schedule because I have a waiting list. Like, it's disrespectful at this point. I've been reaching out to her for over a fucking week and I'm done. She goes, you're on speakerphone with the doctors. I go, okay, well, tell the doctors that she needs to fucking pay her bill or I'm taking her off the schedule because this is fucking ridiculous and disrespectful. And they started laughing back and like, don't ever change. I was like, what? But like, I would never say that to a patient, right? But it's like, if I'm asked, your bill is due. We talked about this in your consultation. You're not going to get the surgery for free. Like, I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt because life is crazy and there's a lot of moving parts, but like, I'm going to reach out to you 4 days before your payment is due. I shouldn't have to keep calling you every single day, leaving you a voicemail.
You're not
sending you emails 3 days after your payment is due. Like, I'm not a collections agency. Do you want the surgery? Pay for it. If not, no, that's fine. Did something come up? And like, I've had patients like, look, I was too nervous to tell you, but like, something came up and I'm like, well, that's fine. Let's push your surgery date out on. You just got to tell me. Like, I will do whatever I can to accommodate. But if you don't tell me what you need and you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you. Like I had one and it worked out because she was like, work's been kind of slow. She was a hairdresser. I just need a couple more weeks to get like the funds because I really don't want to finance this if I don't have to. She's like,
that's great.
I'm like, fine. I was like, and there was another patient who actually wanted to move up. She was like, can I please do this week? I was like, there's no opening, honey. I'm sorry. Like, I'm never going to move other people unless they want to. And I was like, and I think it was like it was the 3rd of June, switching with the 8th of May, something like, I don't know. I forget the dates, but like, she was like, I really wanted to come in this week because I had to change them like my travel plans and blah, blah, blah. I was like, could you do this day? She's like, actually that day would work perfectly. I was like, all right, so I ended up just swapping them and it worked out perfectly. Right. Like, but it's like, because I knew what was going on. If they hadn't told me that, I would have just canceled this one, waited months at a time, and then not known I could have gotten this one. You know what I'm saying? But it worked out. Like and that doesn't happen all the time. Let me tell you, but like, because the more you tell me, the more, if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you. I can't accommodate the schedule. I can't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want me, she's like, she told me, she's like, look, I'm separated from my husband. I need to get a babysitter. So I would prefer to do it on these days because of my babysitter. Those are the days that I can get the nanny. So I was like, all right, this is what you said. I have a day before that. Is that going to be, she's like, no, it's fine. She was like, it's good. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you have to work with your patients. Like, this isn't, and also from a patient standpoint, this is my PSA. Please understand that we're fucking humans and we are doing absolutely everything we can, but you are not our only patient. Like, I wish you were, but like last month alone, I had 64 patients on my caseload that I signed up. That doesn't include all the patients that signed up in March that are now getting surgeries. I'm booking out through September. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a lot to handle, right? And situations are changing. And like, we only have one practice. So I have a lot of out-of-state patients where it's like, I'm not going to schedule your appointment until you look at flights first, because it doesn't make sense for me to make you pick a day. And now you're picking a flight that's 10 times more expensive when we could just do it on a random day. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm very cognizant of that because I'm well aware that like, you're not only paying $20,000 for a surgery or whatever it is. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15. We have a range. Right. But you're not just paying for the surgery. You're paying to fly across the country. You're paying for your accommodations. You're paying for a car. You're paying for all of your food. Right. So that patient is going to be a little bit different than my patient who lives 20 minutes down the road, whose husband is dropping them off before work and picking them up when they get done in their board meeting. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to be, but you also have to be understanding as a patient. Like I said, I had someone who got really upset with me because we sent her appointment confirmation when she booked her appointment. Like, we were trying to be proactive and give you the resources that you needed to. And she was flipping out on me. She's, it's the worst customer service. This is effing ridiculous. Like, I can't. And I was like, I sincerely apologize, but I cannot cancel someone else's appointment because you missed yours and your email was in your spam folder. This is why we send it 3 days in advance. So because there's other people where they'll call freaking out like, hey, I didn't get the link. Where is it? Oh my gosh, I don't want to miss this appointment. I've been waiting for months. Like, where is it? It's like, hey, check your spam folder. Oh my gosh, thank you. So, you know what I'm saying? But like, you can't get mad at me because she's like, if I found my sample, I go double check. And then it was, and I was like, look, she was like, well, now you're booking out into July. I go, you happen to get in on a cancellation. We are booking out until July and August. She's like, well, I wanted my surgery in June. I go, and I get that. I was like, but even if you had your consultation last week, your surgery still wouldn't have been till August. And I hate, and it could be right. I probably can get her in sooner than that because I'm going to get a cancellation. Someone's going to get COVID. It happens all the time, but like,
it feels like a lot of people are so entitled now. Like they just, especially with the internet and things being so like Amazon, everything's so next day.
They want prime surgery. Like they want 2-hour, overnight prime surgery results. Like, no. And her appointment was like from 2 to 2, or what time was it? Like from, I don't know, 4 to 4. She's like, well, my appointment's half an hour. I was like, right. I understand that because the surgeon is now starting his next procedure. I am not going to hold back a surgery for a patient who was on time, who waited 3 months for her appointment, waited another 4 months for her procedure. This woman is 6-7 months into her journey to get this. I'm not going to make her wait another single minute because you didn't read your email. And it's not to be disrespectful, but you have to respect other people's time.
The world doesn't resolve around you, boo-boo. There's other people.
Right. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, would you want the surgeon to, after you've waited all this time, to start your procedure half an hour late because someone else? No. there's a reason we're booking out for months, and and shit happens, right? Like in my old practice, when it was in person, like we would have people calling like, hey, I'm so sorry, there's traffic on the 215, the spaghetti bowl is backed up, right? You know, all these things are legitimate. Like, you know, my GPS is now putting me like 3:07, my appointment's 3. I'm sorry, I'm on my way. And it's like, you know what? You can get here at 4, honey. I will make it work because you took the fucking time to call and be, you know what I'm saying?
The respect.
Communication. Like, right. Or like we'll run behind, right? I'm like, hey, you know, we got some new software, which is what happened like last week. It's like, hey, I'm so sorry, running a little behind the software. Like your appointment might start a little bit closer to like 4:10 instead of 4:00, but I just wanted to, I'll tell them that 2 hours in advance, right? So that now they know. And then it'll be closer to like 4. I'm like, hey, we're actually running right on schedule. I'll see you at 4. But now you see what it's just, it's about, and I've never had a patient get mad. If I don't tell you anything and you're waiting on Zoom for 15 minutes, like, what the fuck is this bitch? Like, all I had to do was send you a text. Like, and like, things happen, right? And it's okay if you told me like, hey, I never got the link. Hey, I don't have it. Then we'll find it for you. But you have to communicate. People think we can read minds, all of us, everything. And we can't. Like, I'm so respectful of appointments. Like, if I'm going to be even 13 seconds late for like my annual cleaning at the dentist, they already know I'm calling and I'm apologizing. And it's like, if I know that I can't be there early, I'm going to reschedule. And my schedule is busy as fuck. So now what happens? Oh, now I miss my cleaning for the year because it doesn't cover my insurance. But like, that's on me. That's not on the dentist. That is on me.
Well,
and you know what I'm saying?
You understand that. I understand that because we've worked in industries before, like especially sales, where people, you know, think that you're inhuman, and my shoulder keeps disappearing, but they think that you like are just not even a fucking human. They think you're a robot. They think they can talk to you any type of way. But it's like, having that respect and that communication is so important. It solves so many problems. And when you are in an industry like you're in, being organized and, you know, being proactive and preventative, just like,
oh, you mean like this is my surgery note. Like, this is just for surgeries. I have another one here. I have another color, not for surgeries. These are for collections. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I have to have multiple things. And that's when people are like, can I just push it back a few days? It's like, sure you can, but like, let me get out my 3 notebooks. And like, is this crazy? Yeah, but this is the only way I can do it, because it's like, that's the other thing too. Now, like before, it was kind of like, okay, I'd sign you up and then you go to the front, you'd get scheduled. The nurse would take care of your treatment. It was kind of like, I was very just transactional. Now it's a lot more involved, which I love. And that's what I wanted. But it's like, we're talking about your procedure. I'm scheduling your appointment. I'm making sure if you need any labs, that those are done. I'm making sure your COVID results are in time. I'm making sure your flights aren't delayed because you're flying in from out of state and it was supposed to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot more moving parts that people don't see. And I'm a very empathetic person. So like, if something comes up in your life where you can't do this and you're financially like strapped, like, I get it. I've been poor my whole life. I am still sometimes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you have to have empathy, but you also have to know where to draw the line. Like, I'm going to be empathetic to your needs, but if you're going to come back at me disrespectfully because you missed your appointment. I had another girl like a couple weeks ago and she was like, I'm so sorry. She was like, I slept through my appointment. She was like, I feel like an absolute asshole. She was like, can I please reschedule? And she was like, I forgot to set my alarm. I work nights. Like, and she was like, I wish I had a better. And I was like, you know what? You're fine. I was like, here's a link. You can reschedule. She's like, thank you so much. And then she even said, she was like, you're booking out a few months. She's like, can I pay extra to get in sooner? She's like, I understand that it was my mistake, but like, I value your time. Like, is there any way I can pay to get on? Like, it's like, unfortunately, there's not. I don't take bribes. You know what I'm saying? But like, her going that much out of her way, it's like, I'm going to put you on the cancellation list and I'm going to try my best to get you in, because like, you're a human. Shit happens. Just be respectful of people's time. I'm the biggest fucking flake.
And honest. Be honest too. Because
right.
I had a fucking nail person. Okay, they lost my business for life. I loved this nail salon. It's here in Orlando, so close to my house. And I went to this lady to get my nails done from her, and she was fine the first couple times. And then there was one time where I had an appointment afterwards. She was late and I had to call her. And I was like, where are you? And she was like, oh, I'm right around the corner. Bitch, 30 minutes later, where are you? Oh, I'm right around the corner. You're not around the corner. She showed up an hour and a half late. And I was like, just be honest. If she had said, I haven't left my house yet, I'm still blow drying my fucking hair, I would have been like, cool, is there someone else who I can go see? Because I waited and almost missed my appointment. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, just be fucking honest. I think when you're honest, she lost my business forever. You know, when you're honest, you have that integrity, right? It keeps coming back to integrity. Like, don't lie and say you're right around the corner when your ass is still fucking in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
right.
That's all.
Yeah, no, I had a patient the other day and I forgot to get back to her, right? Because that's the one thing that's hard for me is I always want to check my messages, but I need to be better at not checking them when I'm not going to answer them. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people text me, because like the problem is, you know, before I just had my patients in office, I could help you there or I couldn't, the end, goodbye, right? That was it. But now it's like we have one practice, but like I have patients spanning from Hawaii to the East Coast, right? So that's a couple of different time zones. So I'm Pacific Standard, right? So like I'll get texts, and I always tell my patients, I'm like, and it's on me, but I'm like, text me at any time. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. Text me. I'm not going to respond to you at 3 a.m. But like, if you have something on your mind, text me. I'll get to you when I get to you. I will always respond within 48 hours, but don't hold it in because you're going to forget, right? But so sometimes I'll get texts at, 3 a.m, which is fine. I'm asleep. But then I'll like get up to go to the restroom and I'll see it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll respond to that when I wake up. And then I forget. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what happened the other day. I had a patient, she texted me at like 7:15, which I was wide awake, but I was at the gym. I was on the Stairmaster and I like accidentally, I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, I'll get back to when I get back to the office. When I get back to the office, which is my house, then I get another call. I have another patient. You know what I'm saying? There's so many moving parts. I have 2 patients about to go into surgery. One of them's COVID's results aren't loading. And it's medical, right? This isn't just like we'll just have someone else wax your eyebrows. It's fine. It's just 3 hairs. Like this is a medical procedure. It's very, very, very important. We can't cut corners with your health and your safety. Do you know what I'm saying? But so they were like, hey, Jenny Snow, that's not her name. You know what I'm saying? But Jenny Snow, she said she reached out to the other day, and I pulled it up and I was like, oh my gosh. And I even told her, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it was 7 o'clock when you texted me. I was at the gym. I was like, and I answered you in my head. I was like, and then I totally forgot because the day got ahead of me. I was like, I wish I had a better excuse. I was like, but it was early and I was at the gym and I was like, and it just totally blanked my mind. I was like, but also I was like, I was going to send you an email on Sunday. I was like, because your payment is due on Thursday. So I usually send them the weekend before. I was like, she's like, okay, I just hadn't heard. And she's like, and I'm so excited. I'm so ready to pay. And I was like, and I appreciate you. I was like, but honestly, I was like, I didn't forget about you. I was like, I have my days where I can do things because when I'm like, I don't do my paperwork till 10 o'clock at night. Like my friends are always like, Maria, you're still working. I'm like, oh no, I've been done with patients since 5. So usually I end my day like 5 or 6. Walk the dog or just go outside with her, maybe go grab like some food or go to the gym or run some errands. And then I come back to work at like 9 p.m. because that's when people aren't bothering me. And it's not that they're bothering me, but it's like, I'm not being interrupted. Like, hey, Maria, I have a question. Like most people are asleep, so I can just focus and do my paperwork and send my emails because like, I'm not going to call you at 3 a.m. But if I email you at 3 a.m., like whatever, you're going to get it in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like etiquette too. Like I feel like the form of communication and time varies. You can't call at 3 a.m. Absolutely not. I will not call a patient past 6 p.m. local time, wherever they are. I won't. I think it's rude. Yeah. I might text them at like 6:05, like, hey, I know it's getting late where you are. I just had to go over a couple of things. If now's a good time, let me know. If not, we'll touch base tomorrow. But like, you know what I'm saying? Because like in 6 isn't that like and I'll even say like usually on East Coast, like I'm so sorry, I lost track of time. It's a little bit later where you are. I understand if you're with your family, but like if you have a second, it would just be a lot easier. But like I'm well aware of that. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't get is like, you're managing so many things and expectations and time zones. And like where you are in your journey for your surgery is very different than my other 102 patients. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're done surgery, like I'm not one to just like I have this one patient, I was texting her the other day. I was just texting her surgery was on the 22nd. It was the day before my birthday last month. And she's like, oh my God, my butt's really big. I was like, I told you, like, I look like Kim Kardashian on crack. I was like, girl, it's swollen. It's going to go down. Like, relax. And she's been like sending me updates. She's like, is it weird that I'm doing this? She's like, I know you don't really have any parts. She's like, I've just appreciated you so much. I'm like, no, please do. Like, I want to see your journey. Like I do this because I love to see people be happy and love themselves. So it's rewarding for me when you're so happy with your body and you're taking these pictures on the beach and you are loving yourself finally after, 45 years after this abusive relationship and your terrible piece of shit husband who left you. Like now you are embraced. And that's what it's about, right? It's not just about like looking better. It's about like, because think about it, when you look better, you feel better, you do better, you produce better, right? So like be the best version of you. Like if anyone goes to my Instagram after this, they'll literally see what I look like 20 minutes before this consult or before this video. I was literally in my gym clothes, hair in a dirty bun, like had my hair growth oil in. I was greasy as fuck, like nasty, but it was like, let me get ready for this. Cause I don't want to feel like shit I could have done it. I would like, Celia, this is what I look like. This is what I am. Right. But it's like,
thought you were going to show up like that because I saw it and I was like, wait a second, what? But I knew you weren't. I was like, she's going to show up looking.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm definitely still in my gym clothes, but like business on the top, party on the bottom. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I didn't want to feel gross. Like I was like, I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about, but it's going to be beauty related. Like I can't look like a bridge troll. You know what I'm saying? But also when I'm at work, I don't get this done up because it's also intimidating for a lot of my patients. If I'm like super done up, dolled up, all this makeup, like I find that my patients aren't as receptive to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm at work, my hair, I have my glasses on, my hair is slicked back in a bun and I have no makeup on except for chapstick. That is my everyday look because I'm more approachable and I want people to feel like they can talk to me. I don't want people to feel intimidated. Like someone called me the other day. They're like, you're my like booty fairy or something. They're like, you're like plastic surgery fairy. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like my fairy godmother. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to, because this is a really scary thing. Like it's surgery. Yes, it's a wake for what we do. Yes, our results are incredible. No, we've never had complications. These are fucking world-class surgeons. One of these surgeons that I work with, I don't know if you know the show Extreme Makeover from like the early 2000s. He was on that show. He is the first surgeon to ever do a BBL on live on national television. He helped coin the term BBL in conjunction with Vogue for one of his interviews. Like, these are the surgeons I'm working with. Do you know what I'm saying? So these are like creme de la fucking creme, which makes my job so easy. Cause I'm like, people are like, well, it's kind of expensive. I'm like, I'm very well aware that we are not cheap, but here's the thing.
You're like, look at the results on the Instagram page. Cause they are.
Yeah. Like, I had someone you can attest to this. Miami has completely ruined the plastic surgery industry because it is so fucking cheap to the point where it's like, it's devalued what we do. Like, you are coming in for a permanent life-changing body contouring procedure. It should not cost you $4,000.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying $4,000 isn't a lot of money. It's all relative, right? But like, no.
If
you know, like, I had a woman
surgery,
she's like, wow. She's like, well, I know you guys are gonna be a lot more expensive because you're in California.
Like, your surgery should.
You said what?
Your surgery should not be cheaper than like a Chanel bag. You know, like, it's just when people think that they,
right?
You know, amazing.
It's an investment in yourself.
Yeah, it really
you get what you pay for. And here's the other thing too. Like, are we more expensive? I mean, yes, but not really. If you actually take into account, and like, that's what I always tell my patients. Like, if you compare us to other practices just on price, then yeah, we're a little bit more. But if you compare on what you're getting versus another practice, you can't even make that comparison because there's no other practice that does what we do. Like, you've seen our work, Celia. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, I am constantly blown away. And like, the compression with lipo is normally 3 to 6 months. Ours is so gentle. You wear it for 2 weeks.
And I do want to say this because I've had lipo done. I've had a fat transfer done, is that, you know, and I paid a lot for that too. But like, I'll just say that you want to make sure you're going to someone who has a technique that lasts and the results, the retention's good.
And this is all we do every day. We literally only do 5 hours. That's like, we don't like, people like, I want a tummy tuck. I'm like, okay, I can make a referral for you, but like, stage it. It's better because when you get a double tummy tuck, you get square, right? So it's better to do your lipo first, get your new shape, and then get rid. And this is what I tell people. I'm like, look, perfection is going to take time. Your body did not get to where it is like this in 2 weeks. It came with 3 kids, 50 pounds of weight loss. I'm like, you have taken how long to get to where you are in your body now? One procedure isn't going to get it where you want it to be. You can do one procedure, but if you want the results that you want, it's going to take time. Perfection takes time. Just like, do you want to microwave your meal or are you going to put it in the crock pot? You're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what's that saying? It's like, are you an oven or a microwave person, right? It's like, it's going to take a little longer in the oven, but it's going to taste better. You know what I'm saying? It's more goes into it. Like, you have the best things. Like, I'm all about instant gratification in certain aspects. Like, if I want it now, but certain things are going to take time, and it's usually the things that are worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I have to drill into my patients. Like, I'm like, yeah, I could take your money and just do it now, but I need you to understand what comes with this. If we do this, you are going to have excess skin because you already have it. This is not a skin excision procedure. This is a fat loss procedure. You already have laxity. That laxity is going to get worse. I need you to understand that you will then, you don't need a tummy tuck, but you may want a tummy tuck in the future. And that has nothing to do with us. That is a separate procedure that is going to be a second stage of what we're doing. But I need you to understand that this is not right. So that's why I never have unhappy patients, because when they're saying yes, they're like, I've even had patients like, Maria, you were right. I got skin left. And I'm like, well, we talk like, no, I know. They're like, but I was ready. So thank you. And they're like, now that I see, I don't even want a tummy tuck, but it's like, you're giving them those expectations.
And I think expectations are important, because when I worked for MAC, people would come in and say, they would hold up a picture of Kim Kardashian. I remember that was like when she first like blossomed into, and they'd be like, I want this makeup. And they thought the makeup would make them look like Kim Kardashian. And I would always,
that's her face.
Yeah, I would joke with them and I'd be like, you know, I'm not a plastic surgeon. And even then, plastic surgeons can't even make you look like Kim Kardashian.
Right.
You know, but they can only enhance your beauty. So I would always tell people it's about enhancing.
I mean, Kim doesn't even look like Kim anymore. So plastic surgeons can do quite a bit, but
true that. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, it take a lot. Like you're saying, you can't rush a process. Like, things sometimes take time. They take diligence. And the thing that people think is, they think that there's like this magic wand you can wave. They think going into a plastic surgeon's office, they can get the result like that. And it's like, I've seen a lot of people be unhappy with the results that they've gotten in plastic surgery from like Miami or wherever, because they went in with, you know, saggy boobs to begin with. The doctor was like, oh, you just want implants? Okay. They pop the implants in and the implants are hanging down low. And I'm like, why didn't they tell you about, you know, lifting the breasts, you know, making that contour? Why didn't they offer you other, you know, the teardrop breasts, you know? So there's so many different things that doctors, you know, if you say, oh, I just want the implant, you know, now they look like fucking they're dropped down with like headlights on them. And, you know, that's what you're paying for when you don't go to a place that has expectations. Like you have to go to someone who is going to give you the real, like this is what you can expect.
Exactly. Like for example, and I won't name patients, like this is how I do my consultation. It's so different now. Like I had this patient, we'll call her, we're just going to call everyone Jenny Snow today because I don't know.
Love Jenny Snow.
Right, love her. We love her. Fuck Jane Smith. Okay. She is so 1995. We are Jenny Snow these days. Okay. But so it's like, and I can even pull up these notes from this patient. This was 3 weeks ago. And it's like, okay, she's very petite. She's top heavy. She wants to balance her lower half. She's going to, I can already tell you, it's like, okay, she wants to take the fat from her abdomen, her back bra roll. She wants to add a little bit more to her butt and her hips. She wants to be a little bit more proportional. But see, like, I was like, I've already talked to her about the skin laxity issue. She knows that she's breastfed. So if we're taking any fat, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I put it on a platter for the, because if you tell the patient to explain what they want, it's going to take them 45 minutes. Right. So like, I always say, they're like, so what's your job? I'm like, I'm a translator, whatever you, cause they'll like all of this, I sum into 20 seconds. And I'm always like, did I miss anything? They're always like, no, you covered everything so clearly. Cause then I put it into the, you know, surgeon's terms, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, doc. Here's the game plan. How are we going to make this happen? The doctor goes through, then he goes in, and then the patients are kind of like, okay, so what the surgeon was saying, the reason we're going to take the fat from your lower back is going to give you more circumferential reduction. We're going to bring that waistline in more. It's going to, and they're like, okay, so right. So I'm like that translator because surgeons don't understand that, patients don't really get all that verbiage, and patients don't get that. Like you got to, you know what I'm saying? So like, but you have to manage these expectations because like, I don't even look at my patients' pictures. I refuse. I don't want to look at your pictures because I have a preconceived notion of what you want and what's going to happen. So I do every single one of my consultations blindly. I will not look at your photos until the surgeon pulls them up because then I cover like, because I've had patients like, look, what you're telling me, I'm like, I haven't seen your photos. You're telling me you've had 4 kids. Okay. You're naturally a double D and you've lost 35 pounds. I'm like, I'm going to tell you now, you're probably not going to be a candidate. You're probably going to be better for either like a body lift or like a breast lift or like some skin excision. I'm like, I could very well be wrong, but I just want you to have those expectations. We're still going to go through your whole consultation. But now once that surgeon comes on, you know that so they already know in their head, like, okay, I might not be a good candidate. And usually I'm right because I can kind of use, I know, you know, what factors affect things. But like, there's been times where like I've seen things when I'm like, wait, you've had 3 kids? I'm like, where? From your fucking toes? Like you look amazing, you know, and that's the thing is there's that genetic piece, right? So, and then they're like, oh, but now it's like, they're a candidate, but now they're even more happy because they were thinking he might not be. So now it's like, you know, but I prepped them. So if they had him, they would have like, it's kind of like, it doesn't hurt as bad. So they're like, okay. They're like, yeah, Maria kind of prepped me. And like, I get it. It's what she told me now that I'm seeing, like, it kind of makes sense, right? It's about managing those expectations and you don't want to lie to your patients. Our revision rate, dude, is less than 1%. Do you know how unheard of that is in plastics? Revision is 10 to 15 on average. Ours is less than 1. And we guarantee our results. If you are not happy with your lipo, your softs, like anything that we take out, we will revise it for free.
That's amazing. So
tell me another.
okay, I want to know this. What can people do? Because this is like the number one question I do get asked for like our podcast together was what can people do to make Botox last longer? Or what can people do to have better outcome with Botox? Anything.
Okay, so the thing with Botox, a lot of it is your anatomy. My body eats Botox like fucking nothing. I always say if my
closet.
Yeah, no, like literally if my body metabolized food as quickly as Botox, I would literally be in Vogue 5 years ago. Like, I don't know what it is. I've tried every combination. My body just breaks it down faster. What works for me personally is doing a higher dose. So that's what people don't get is dosage will dictate your duration. Okay. So I like to use analogies. I think it's easier for people to understand when it's something they're unfamiliar with. So think of like a Tylenol, right? You have a little bit of a headache. You take, I don't know. I don't really take meds. I pick my poison and it's usually botulism in my face. But so like something like Tylenol, you take 200 milligrams, that's going to last you for a little bit, but it's not going to like really fully take that headache away, or Motrin or Advil, what the fuck ever. Right? What I'm saying? Something.
Yeah.
It might take the edge off a little, but it's not going to really do much for very long. If you take that full 800 milligrams, like you're supposed to, that migraine is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to actually work more effectively for the time that it's supposed to. So and the other thing people need to realize is your face is not the same as someone else's. Like I keep up with my Botox. I'm religious on my Botox. Like I might fucking eat ramen. You know what I mean? I also didn't pay very much for Botox. This is my first time I'm going to be paying full price in 7 years. So that's really stings a little bit, but it's still worth the investment, right? That's coming from someone who barely ever paid for a Botox. I would pay like maybe cost for close to a decade now. I'm paying full price. And that's how much I know that it's worth it. Like I will never stop doing Botox. I'm still going to my old practice that I used to run because I trust those girls with my face.
Yeah.
But where your face is different. Like my friend had 30 units. Okay, great. I get 75 units. Okay. Anything less than, which is obscene. Most people, like I have patients in their 40s and 50s who get 40 units, and that's what their face needs. I have a big forehead. I metabolize Botox quickly. I work out. My body is going to break it down faster. I have to get more because if I do anything less than 75 units, it will not last for me. That's just my magic number. And that's people are like, you do 70? Are you fucking insane? I'm like, well, yeah. But if I do any less than that, it's only going to last me 2 months. So I would rather pay a little bit more. Like I got my Botox last time I got it was in December. So like I'm overdue, right? But if I had done what I look like I need, I would have needed it in February very easily because I've played around with it. So, and what people need to realize is you're not going to get it right the first time. There's the human variable. So you need to trust your provider. You need to start with less because you can always add more. Like when I used to do Botox, I remember the first time I did, I think I did like 30 units. Like, I don't want to be frozen now. I'm like, how many? I'm like, put 3,000 in there. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fine. I'm not going to die. But it's like, you have to keep up with it. That's the biggest thing. Being consistent with it, just like exercise, right? If you go to the gym every once in a while, you're not going to get those results. You might fluctuate. You might do this, but like consistency is so important because, for example, if you break your arm and you are in a cast, your muscles will atrophy, right? You're not using those muscles, so they get weaker. Yeah. If you re-break your arm in that cast, they get weaker. The more consistently you are like not using those muscles, the weaker and weaker they're going to get. And eventually, say your arm's in that splint for 5 years, it's going to take you so much longer to recover from those 5 years of, immobility versus like 3 weeks, right? Because it was incapacitated for so long. So that's Botox and Dysport and Xeomin and Javoo. They're all neuromodulators. They're all relax your muscles. They're relaxing your muscles. So it's essentially paralyzing them. Whatever it is, what it is. Look it up. It's so safe. Okay, you probably had botulism for other things. You're eating McDonald's. Don't talk to me about what goes into your body. Okay, thank you. Next. But do you know what I'm saying? Like I always say, I'm like, I pick my poison. I eat very well. I exercise, but you damn well bet I'm put all that shit in my face. Thank you very much. But so just pick your poison and understand it's going to take a little bit of time. They're not all the same. I have some people who work way better with Dysport versus Botox and vice versa. They're slightly different chemical makeups. Like it doesn't like, and here's another thing. If your provider is telling you like, hey, I think you're going to need probably like, I don't know, 52 units. Let's start you with 40. See where that goes. Cause you might not need those full 52, right? Your body might take it better and now we're good. But like I had this one patient, she did Dysport so that it's a little bit different. It's like 2.5 times the amount of units for Botox. So she was advised for 120 units of Dysport, right? Which is equivalent of like probably 30 units of Botox. This woman got 10 units of Dysport. Okay. 10. And then she was complaining that it didn't work. And I was like, I apologize, but you didn't do what we told you to. Like, if you got what we told you and it still didn't work within the time frame that it was supposed to, that's fine. But you're coming to me, Botox lasts just for 3 to 4 months on average. You're coming to me 5.5 months later. You got a fraction of what we told you to. Like, you need to listen to your provider. You need to understand we're not trying to oversell you. Some of them are, and that's what's hard to understand. But like, start with less and just learn your body. But the biggest thing is staying on top of it, because if you're consistent with that Botox, right? Like even though I've gone 5 months without it, if I don't move my face, there's not a wrinkle in sight. When I move it, you can tell I haven't had it because my face moves like crazy. Next time we do our podcast, you'll see my real face without any movement. But it's like I used to have static lines, but when I wouldn't move my face, I had lines across my forehead when I wasn't even moving it, when my face was still. This was at 24 years old. I look younger now in my 30s than I did in my 20s. But that's because I take care of my shit and I don't miss my Botox. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm constantly relaxing those muscles. So now it takes longer for them to regain their strength because they've been immobilized for 7 years. Do you know what I'm saying? So people are like, well, why does like my Botox still doesn't last very long, but for me, it does compared to what it used to, because before it would be 2 to 3 months. I would just have to do more, but like, I know when I need it. So consistency is the biggest piece, and appropriate dosing. Because if you underdose and you undercorrect, it's not going to last as long. And you can do a light dose for your first time, get a taste for it, be like, okay, because here's the thing. If you don't like it, it's not going to last forever. It's going to last for a couple of months. If you fucking love it, which you will, it's not going to last forever. That's what I always tell people. Like, the good and the bad thing is it doesn't last forever, but like, you kind of need to figure that out. Just like hair products. Like we kind of talked about that earlier. Like, I'm in a journey to love my natural hair. Like, I didn't know how the fuck it was going to dry today. Like, it actually looks pretty good, but like, I use different, like I don't know what the fuck it's going to do, but you have to experiment with that. I can't just expect what worked for my other curly haired friend to work with my, it's your body is unique and you have to treat it as such. So you have to experiment with it. And if you get it right the first time, that's awesome, but stay on top of that. And even if you get it right the first time, you might not get it right the second time because there might be different things going on in your body that you're not realizing. Like, okay, last time it was the winter and you were working from home. Now you went on your vacation with your family for 3 weeks. You've been laying out in the sun. You haven't been wearing sunscreen and you've been working out 5 days a week. Like, yeah, you're Botox and you did half the amount of Botox. No, it didn't last as long. It's not the same treatment. Do you know what I'm saying? So just understanding there's going to be variety and you have to just stay on top of it and don't be afraid. Botox is not going to make you look fake. It's not going to make you look overdone. The only people who look fake and overdone are people who want to. Right now I have like barely, and I really have Botox, but like regularly get Botox in my face. I have filler in my lips. I have filler in my cheeks. I have filler here. I've done Cavalli here. Like I have collectively, right now, because some of them have gone away, like collectively in my face, I probably have like 6 or 7 syringes of filler right now, but you wouldn't know that because it's done well. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and that's the trick is everybody's face is different. Like it doesn't matter what your friend did. It doesn't matter what you saw on fucking Google or what some Instagram page from fucking, I don't know, Macedonia told you. This is your face.
Basically, you should be get a damn consult. Like,
yes, call me. Like, I will tell you, I will help you. And like, look, I'll even do it for free. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the one injecting you. But like, I've even had patients where I'm like, look, we're not going to be the right practice for you, but I want you to go somewhere else and come back to me. Because if you want my opinion, like, because that's the thing, at the end of the day, I want you to get the results that's best for you. And if it's not us, that sucks. But like, I would rather you go somewhere else and I get a good experience than be here and be unsatisfied and have to deal with your grumpy ass. I'm busy enough with my happy patients. I don't want to add to it. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't want to do that. So it's like, I want you to go do your research because maybe you'll realize we are the right place. And I would, at my old practice, like, you're a lot for hair, like, you're a lot more expensive. Like, I know we're like 5 times more. And they're like, I'm like, well, because we're worth it. I'm like, I'm like, I encourage you to go to every med spa in this industry. Please do ask them all of these questions because I want you to. And if you find one that even halfway compares to us, please go there because we're obviously overcharging for what we do. I never once had a person not come back because that's how much I believe in what we do. I'm not going to walk into Louis and be like, this bag that looks exactly like this was only $30 to Target. Okay, then go to Target. You're a fucking Louis right now. You're not asking for a discount. Like you have to respect people's rates. Like, yes, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but these are medical procedures. You would not walk into your oncologist and ask them for a discount on your mastopexy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you would just pay for it or insure. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things like,
well, you would walk into Louis and be like, I want this bag for $10. Like, they would laugh at you. I mean, people actually did do that. I worked in luxury and people would do that all the time. People thought they could barter. Well, I'm not going to even go into the company I work for, but people thought they could barter. And I'm like,
it's a cultural thing, a lot of different cultures. And I understand that. So like, you kind of have to know from a sales side, like for me, I have a little bit of wiggle room, not much. At the end of the day, like I have charges. I have to run an OR, right? Like, it's not just like the surgeon doesn't just get all this money. It's like, you have to pay for all the medicines, all the fluids are going in your body, all the instruments that we're using, all of like the things we have to, it's a surgery. It's a sterile environment,
right?
You know, just like
that goes into it.
Yeah. Like we have a minimum surgery cost just to cover just the surgery. Then obviously we want to make a profit because if we never made profit, we wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, there's a minimum surgery cost I have to charge. So like, if you're adding a bunch of shit on, like I'm going to discount it because like we've already covered our costs. So like, I'd rather you just add your chin on now for 5 minutes and take up a whole OR and ask me I have to charge you 3 times as much when you come back for, you know what I'm saying? So there is that wiggle room, but like, there's some people like, I usually give you the best price that I can just because like, I don't want to play that game. Like, well, can you do it for this? And I'll even say, I'm like, this is the best price I can go, taking off every discount because I want this to work for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But like, this is the best that I can do. Like, maybe sometimes if they're paying in cash, they might be able to take off an extra couple $100, but like, this is what it costs. This is the price for you to get. And what I tell people, like, what you're forgetting is there's a guarantee in here. If you are not satisfied, we're going to fix it for free, which is going to cost us as a practice money. Because if we were doing free revisions all day, we're losing money in the OR by having to pay for the materials. Yeah. Plus, we still have to pay our nurses, right? They're not using their time for free. You know what I'm saying? The doctor will have to, right? It's like, so it's like you.
People are so funny. Like it totally.
Things cost money.
Yeah.
And this is a luxury. And that's the thing too, I think people forget is this is a luxury service. And I'm very well aware of that. Not everybody has, or maybe ever will have a spare $20,000 shop on surgery. I'm very cognizant of that. Like I said, I grew up very poor. I don't even think my mom made that a year growing up. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, and that's okay. You just have to live within your means. But my thing is like, if you can't go somewhere safe, I don't think it's worth doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, It's not
100%.
when it comes, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with us eventually. We're going to have to fix it. And it's probably going to, we're not giving you a free revision if you want somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Now you're more.
If anyone's ever seen Botched, you know. No,
what's his name? Dr. DeBro. He was also on Extreme Makeover with my other surgeon. That's how good my surgeons are.
Well, that's amazing.
They just don't have their own shows because they're more on like, they like to just do the work and not be on camera anymore. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, oh, Botch. I had a girl the other day. She was like, well, she said, well, I already had me. I was like, all right, tell me a little about that. She's like, so I went to Mexico. I was like, okay. She's like, before you say anything, I was like, I'm not saying anything. She's like, I was like, I'm not. Because I know people, one of my best friends, her friend from work went to Colombia to a double board certified plastic surgeon. She looks great. But that's not usually the case. And my thing is it's not about like, I'm from another country. I'm from Guatemala. Okay. I'm not like on this white high horse, but it's like, if something goes wrong, you are still not with accessible healthcare. Because something can go, like my practice is right next to Beverly Hills. Something can still go wrong here, but at least you have access to resources. If something goes wrong in a back alley of Tijuana, you're still in the back alley of Tijuana. I don't give a fuck if that surgeon is 18 times board certified. You just went into septic shock because infections can happen. Just like if you get a paper cut, like your ass is still in fucking Tijuana. And now you spent $30,000 on a hospital that doesn't even know what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just, that's what people don't realize is there are costs associated with the risk. Like it might be cheaper to do the cheaper procedure, but it's going to cost you when you have to fix it, or when you have septic shock, or when you get an infection, or when, I mean, this girl, she was like, yeah, they didn't tell me it was going to go down at all. So I went really, really, really conservatively. She's like, and it didn't even do anything. And I got this infection. The doctor wouldn't answer my call. Luckily I had family there, but it's like,
wow.
She's like, and he was board certified. I go, did you look up his board? She's like, I forgot. I'm like, and those are things, that's what all of this stuff is public knowledge. These doctors, if they're not board certified, you can see, and there's going to be different reasons why people aren't board certified. I've worked with some non-board certified plastic surgeons, and some of it does have to do with politics, I will say, and I'll leave that out of my opinion out of that for it too. But like overall, like his work, you wouldn't even care if he did it in a dungeon because it's that good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've met surgeons where they're not board certified just because it's like, there's a lapse in time with their license, or they move states, and there's all these things, right? But it's like, also look at their track record, right? It's not just that, like you don't have to be board certified to be a surgeon. It's just a different level, but it's like, they still went to med school. They still passed their medical board. They still did all that. It's just a different thing. That's just like a little, you know what I'm saying? And there's not that many of them, but that's because they make it hard to get. But like, do your research. And also when you're doing your research, understand that if you see all good reviews, that's also a red flag, because you are never going to make everyone happy. I had someone the other day, she was like, hey, I saw some reviews on this doctor where like the person said they weren't that happy. I was like, okay, well, remember how we talked about in your procedure, how you're going to have a little bit of skin left because of the patient? Like, yeah, I'm like, same thing. She's like, well, why are they mad? I was like, because they have skin left. She's like, but did you guys tell them that? I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay. I'm like, you're never going to make everyone satisfied. You're always going to have people with unrealistic expectations. And you might think like, we'll tell you like, look, it's not going to give you the result that you're looking for. You can do it, but you're still going to have that skin. And they're going to do it thinking like, oh, maybe they were just lying. We're not lying to you. Our goal is we're going to under promise and over deliver, because we are in plastics. You are a walking billboard of our work. And we want you to look your best, not only for you, but for us. We don't want someone going up to you being like, oh, you got some work done. Like, where'd you go? And you're like, oh, I went to Dr. Jabro, so-and-so. And it's like, okay, don't put it. You want people to be like, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but you look fucking incredible. Like, what is this, a workout? Like, did you go somewhere? Like, do I need your surgeon's information? Like, are you just God's favorite? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's the reaction you want, because you look so good. And that's what we do. And I can wholeheartedly say that. Like, I look at my results every day with my patients, and I like can go into work with confidence, knowing these doctors aren't going to fuck up their bodies, because like at the end of the day, if they do, like I have to deal with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to put myself in that position. Like going to a doctor with reputation who's booked out a few months, there's a reason. One of my old patients from my old practice that wasn't surgery, she just paid $83,000 for a facelift. She hasn't even had her consultation yet. She paid that $83,000 in advance to lock in the doctor's current rates, because they're going up to 150 for his facelifts next year. Like this is, but here's the thing. Are his facelifts worth that? And there's some surgeons that are a little bit better, but they're also, I know surgeons that charge over $100,000 for a facelift. Like this shit is not cheap, but you are trusting someone with your face and your body. And is $100,000 astronomical? Yeah, that's a house for most people. Would I spend I would not spend $100,000 on my face yet. Talk to me in 10 years when my shit's fallen and I haven't, you know what I'm saying? But like, But you have to, like, I was joking around. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my face sponge. Like, I don't actually have one, but I was like, I should probably start putting money aside. So by the time I need a facelift in 30, 40 years, right? You can only Botox and lift so many things. Eventually your skin is going to be your skin. You're going to have to get it, but like you get what you pay for. Is her experience that $83,000 facelift going to be different than the $10,000 one? You bet your ass it will. And it should be for what she's paying, but you're not just paying for the procedure. You are paying for the surgeon's time, for the
Artistic ability.
experience. Mm-hmm. And that's just, if it's good, it's not cheap. If it's cheap, it's not good. I would say you can be the best, right? You can be the best, you can be the cheapest, but you can't be both. And if you are in a practice that you feel is charging a lot, it's because they can. Because if we were not worth the prices that we were charging, we would have adjusted our systems and processes and lowered our rates to get patients in the door. Because at the end of the day, you're better off getting a patient with less money than no patients at all, right? But we don't have to do that because we are of quality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I have patients offering to triple pay to get in for a consultation with me, which I don't even do shit, to then be able to have the surgeon touch their body. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, that other doctor's only charging you $4,000. They're like, well, that other doctor can get me in next week. Why? I'm able to get people in sometimes next week if I have like a COVID cancellation, like, hey, I just had a last minute cancellation. I'm about to call patients, but if I'm on the phone with you and you want to take it, fine. If not, like, I'm going to get it filled in the next hour. You know what I'm saying? But I like to just less work for me if you're already on the phone. But it's like, there's going to be exceptions, right? We won't take if you have a positive COVID test within a week for safety reasons, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I had someone where something happened with her mother and she was supposed to fly in. So she's like, I'm so sorry. I know it's only 4 days notice. Like, I don't know what to do. She was like, you can keep half my funds. She's like, my mother is in the hot. And I was like, she's like, I'll send you a doctor's note. She's like, I'll send you her. And I'm like, you do not need to send your mother's EKG results. Like, I can hear it in your voice. Like, and she's like, anytime you can book me out, I will rearrange my travels. And like, shit happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. But like, so sometimes you are going to get a last minute opening, but don't be mad that you only have one. Oh, well, I can't do that Tuesday. How about Wednesday or Thursday? No, it's a fluke that we even have this one available. You know what I'm saying? Like, you book your hair appointment 8 weeks in advance. What makes me you can book your surgery 2 days later?
It's that microwave world, Maria. So one last question before we wrap up is filler. So filler in the face. This was another question we had. Filler in the face, do you have to eventually dissolve it and then redo it, or how does that work? Because people are wondering about the cheek filler. They're wondering.
It depends. So if it's done, and it all goes back to what was done initially. Because different fillers have different densities, right? So think of them like a gel. Like, and you can think of different gels, like Jello that hasn't hardened versus like Jello is about right. There's like different viscosity. That's the word. I'm like the worst with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's the consistency of it, right? So there's different fillers for different purposes. Like, for example, I wish I had my little thing with me. Except I got rid of it because I don't need it anymore. Fred, my nephew, ignore him. I'm also a dog aunt. But so like, for example, Voluma, if you feel your cheeks, so Voluma, I'm going to go with Allergan products just because they're more well-known. They kind of keep it easier. Or Voluma, Restylane, Radius, whatever. If you touch your cheeks, if you have no filler in your cheeks and you touch them, your cheeks are going to be firm, right? Because there's bone there, there's structure, there's muscle. Your lips don't feel the same. They shouldn't feel the same when you put filler in there, right? So this filler is a lot thicker and it's a lot firmer, and it's also injected completely differently. So this is probably going to freak some people out, but cheek filler, you have layers to your skin. For cheek filler, they're injecting that onto the bone. It is not superficial. Like lip filler, nasolabial folds, that's superficial. It goes on the top. You're kind of adding like a frosting. For cheek filler, imagine that this is your face. We're doing it underneath, right, on your bones. So then it like I'm trying to like do this. So it like lays flat over it and like smoothly. Does that make sense? Like it's going over it. Like if this is the filler, it goes over it, right? So it's important to use the right fillers, to have an experienced injector, to know how to use said fillers. Cause like I've had people like, I had a patient like Voluma lasts longer. It has a longer shelf life because it's in your cheeks, right? Your cheeks do a lot. You have to sleep on your face. There's a lot more on them with your mouth. But she was like, well, she's like, I know. She's like, I'm gonna try Voluma on my lips. I'm like, don't do it. She's like, I know, but it lasts longer. I'm like, because it's supposed to be in your cheeks. It's a lot harder. I was like, your lips are gonna look like shit. I was like, I'm telling you, don't do it. She's like, I know, Maria. She's like, but the doctor's offering me a deal. I'm like, that's fine. I was like, but I'm telling you, I was like, it's not even about taking money. I was like, I'm telling you, you're not going to be happy. We're going to have to fix it. And it's going to make our job. So long story short, she got the Voluma in her lips. It looked like shit. She ended up having to dissolve it. And then she had to start over because with the hyaluronidase, it's an enzyme that dissolves hyaluronic acid. You have your own natural hyaluronic acid in your body. So you run the risk of not only dissolving your own hyaluronic acid, not only dissolving the hyaluronic acid that was injected, but also your own hyaluronic acid.
Wow.
So you're left with less than what you started with. I actually did an experiment experiment last year pre-COVID. My lips used to be a little bit fuller. And I also just wanted to go like more natural and whatever. I was over that look. But last year I had this one little thing and I was like, hey, I was like, we had we don't really dissolve. We didn't really dissolve because our nurses were so good. And you were injected by them. We don't really need to. We only did it for like emergencies. But so we had some of the enzyme that was going to expire in a few weeks. And I was like, we were going to just throw it out, right? Because you can't leave medical products on the shelves. It's a problem. So I was like, I have an idea. I was like, let's dissolve my lips. I was like, let's, as an experiment. I was like, because I'm doing my Botox next week. I was like, let's dissolve my lips, see what it really does, how fast it actually happens. Is like an educational thing. So you guys can practice with me. Like you can fuck around. I can see what it, like, I'm all about that, like tasting the menu, right? I'm like, let's dissolve them. Like, I have a whole fucking cabinet full of filler. I'll just fill them back up. And then so I dissolved my lips. And then 2 days later, the world closed. We went into COVID and I didn't get filler for like 8 months. And it was the worst thing ever because it was like, I didn't recognize my face. Like I was on a consult with an old patient. They were like, and I was like, my face isn't mine, or it would be ironic to be doing consultations without filler. I'm like, I don't really have, and like, but so I chose to dissolve it just because I wanted to see what it felt like. And the process, let me tell you, do not dissolve unless you have to, because it is fucking painful.
Really?
Your face. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not bad. I can tolerate it, but compared to the actual filler itself, it is a lot more and you are sore. And it's like, it's a process. Do you know what I'm saying? Dissolving is a process. So like, if you have a lot of old filler, and filler can migrate too. So if it's not injected properly, do you know what I'm saying? And I had to do some experimenting. So I had a tiny bit of migration. It wasn't bad, but enough for me. Like I need my shit to be, do you know what I'm saying? So I was like, there was like one tiny thing that like we could have just corrected with something else. I was like, let's just dissolve that and fuck, let's just dissolve everything. Let's just like do it and see, like, it'll be fun to start over to see what my consistency, my lips feels like because they had so much filler for so long. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of experimenting with it. But it's like, if you do it right, like I've never dissolved my cheeks. I've never had to. I've had cheek filler now for 4.5 years. I've never dissolved my cheek filler. I don't have to. I didn't have to dissolve my lip filler either. I just chose to. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're using the right products and the right amounts with a good injector who has integrity and knows how to inject it, and you're not overdoing it, then no, you shouldn't have to dissolve it. But if you're using the wrong fillers in the wrong places, or you're overcorrecting, or like another thing too is the quality of your skin, that's a big factor too. If your laxity is down to here, no amount of filler we're going to put in there is going to fix that. You have to work on the foundation in your collagen and get that skin tightened before we can fill it up, because now you're just adding water to a balloon that's shriveled up, that's been deflated for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get
like the
that
boobs that are down here where they put implants in. It doesn't do anything. It's just going to look weird.
Right. I actually it's funny. I went for a lift because, I'm naturally busty, but we talked about that earlier. Like I've always been busty and I went for a lift. So I'm like, hey, I've lost weight. So with the weight loss and with gravity and with age, like I'm in my 30s, but my breasts are like they're 90s. I mean, they're really not. I'm just dramatic, but like I care about my image. Like I want to feel comfortable in my own body, So I just went in for a lift. Like I was like, I don't want implants. I just want them to be like, a little bit higher, like nothing crazy. I just want them to be like, I want to be able to wear certain shirts without like worrying about my boob falling out on the side. Like I would rather just be comfortable. So he was like, you don't just need a lift. He's like, you also need implants. He's like, I can do just a lift. He's like, but you're going to go from a natural triple D, and everyone knows, to like an A cup or a B cup. He's like, a lot of what you have is skin. He's like, you can still fill a double D or a C because you have the breast tissues, like, but you have some laxity, you have lost weight, you're smaller than you were. He's like, so I can do your breast lift. He's like, and that's fine, but I need you to understand you're going to be an A cup. And I was like, I can't, my body won't look right with an A cup. I have shoulders, you know what I'm saying? My frame won't look right. So I was like, I don't want implants. So again, I'm just going to deal with it. These are boobs. Right. The hip dips, those are going to go. Stay tuned. Well, and that's another thing. If you want, I'll totally take you guys through the whole journey of my surgery. I don't care.
That'd be awesome. So where can people like find you? Like Instagram? Give us
Instagram. Yeah. So I'm kind of pivoting my page more now, because before I honestly really couldn't advertise what I did because of the way the company I worked for ran. I could only do things out of Vegas and I couldn't help people elsewhere. So now my company, I mean, we're based out of one place, but we're opening up another practice in Miami. We're going to be, then we're going to be announcing our next location soon. I'll still be working remotely, so I'll be running all the practices remotely. But if people have questions, they just want to like if you just have a question like, hey, would I be a good candidate? Like slide in my DMs, no problem. But like, if you're going to like want a full-on consultation, you need to educate you on the aging process, do all that. Like, we'll work something out. My company charges $150 an hour per time. So, I'm pretty good these days, but no, I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to go on Instagram, I'm pivoting it now. Like I post more stuff about work because I can now. It's like, it's not taboo, but also keep in mind that is my personal page. So I am going to post some things that are opinionated on my side. And it's a very tumultuous time out there. And if you don't agree with my political views, that's totally fine. Free speech, free choice. That is my political affiliation, and my views on social rights and human beings does not affect me with work. I've done patients that I completely disagree with morally on what they believe for certain things, but that doesn't take away from what I do. So it's like, just, I need people to be aware of that, because I'm not going to apologize for who I am. Like, you're going to see some shit. Maybe it's BLM, maybe it's not. I'm not saying what it is. Maybe it's all life matters. Maybe I don't know. I'm not telling you.
Are you saying trigger warning right now? Like, there may be a trigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Trigger warning. And that's, and if and I don't post a lot of that stuff, but like, if I'm going to speak my mind, and it comes with everything. I'm all about speaking for what is right and what you believe. And that's how I was raised. That's how I'm going to be, so like, it's a very personal page. Like, I'm very much myself on it, but like, I have people constantly ask me, and I thought about making a separate page for just my consulting. And I'll probably do that eventually, but I already have multiple practices to manage and other things to do. And like, usually 9 times out of 10, if you want to talk to me, you're going to make an appointment because you're going to want to come have a surgery where I am. So like, you're going to have to go through that process anyways. But like, if people want a consultation with me, if they want to learn more about what I'm doing, or if they just want education on what I used to do, because I still am very passionate, still know a bunch of great providers all across the country. I can make recommendations, or I can find you a provider where you live, even though it's not going to be one of mine. Like, at the end of the day, I want you to be the best version of you in the safest way, in the safest environment possible. Because safety comes first, results come second. If we can't do it safely, I don't give a fuck about your results, because we're not touching your face or your body. Period.
Perfect. So what is your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is Maria, MARIAA with 2 A's _B, like a bumblebee, BEE. So Maria B, 2 A's. MARIAA _.
It will be in the YouTube thing, and it will be in the description. You guys can
follow to subscribe, link to subscribe, or
wherever it is, a link in like bio or description. But yeah, you guys can go click it there, so you can find her Instagram there. Do you have like a website or anything, or is it strictly just Instagram?
Just through Instagram right now. I mean, the company I work for right now is called Sculpt. You can also look them up. SQULPT. They're my only client. Amazing. Yeah. So they are my only client currently. Because like I said, I left my old practice to come here, and I thought I was just going to just do this, but now I'm realizing I miss the other side of it. Like, I love surgery, but I miss the aesthetic, like facial preventative side of it, like the ongoing sort of thing. And I wasn't planning on doing anything with that. I was like, going to kind of like turn a new leaf, but I've had so many of my old patients still coming to me for advice. Like, I had a patient yesterday. She's one of my like regulars. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm actually not there anymore, but I'll make sure you're taken care of. She's like, well, where are you now? And I was like, well, she's like, well, I'm always in California. And I was like, well, I'm actually pivoting. I'm doing surgery now. I'm also going to be starting my own consulting firm. And she's like, good for you. She was like, you're so good at what you do. She's like, I'm surprised it took you this long. She was like, I support you. She's like, and when you're ready to start doing my consults again, you let me know. She doesn't have to come to me to get paid and to pay me to do a consultation. She could just go to the practice she went to with me for years, where the nurses know her face, and they're going to do her face with a plan we came up with, because it's an ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? But like, she still is like, no, I'll still come to you once you have that all set up, and I'll still pay you to tell me what to do. And I'm like, what? That's awesome. But you know what I'm saying? Because I genuinely, if you don't need something, I'm going to tell you. I'm never going to tell you to put something in your face if it's going to make you look like shit, because now you're going to blame me for it. So, you know what I'm saying? So any questions you have, please ask me. Want to ask me about plants? I post a lot of my plants. Want to talk about dogs? Irie, you want to come say hi? Come here, baby.
Yes, we want to.
She's coming to make an appearance. You don't have my dog's naked. That's how I know I was busy today. So normally she's fully dressed. She has a closet. She has boner hair, but this is Irie. Oh, she got a bath last night.
Hi, cute.
She loves being on camera. She will also be involved in your consultations. This is free. She doesn't charge. She's just an added bonus, huh? This is my child. She is a rescue, and we love her.
She is so cute.
She's turning 3 next week. My baby.
Happy birthday, Irie. Happy early birthday.
Turning 3 on when? What's today? 18th, right? Or 17th? What's today?
17th.
Oh my God, I don't have any surgeries today, so I don't know the day of the week. Like, I'm not working. I don't have any patients. And okay, it's the 17th. Yeah, tomorrow I have patients on the 18th. So yeah, her birthday's on the 20th. I'm gonna be 3, and we're going to Park City for a bachelorette party this weekend. She has been summoned. I was told I'm not allowed to come if she's not with me. So
that will be so much fun.
We'll post lots of photos.
Oh my gosh. You guys have to go follow Maria. We love Maria. Seriously.
I'm a lot.
Everything looking hot. We will have her back, because I feel like there's so many nuggets out of this interview, and like there's so much that we could continue talking about.
I was like, we're not gonna have anything to talk about, Celia.
So we will have her back on. If you guys have questions, please drop those either in the comments on YouTube, or you can review this channel on the podcast. So iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen. iTunes is where we actually see the reviews. Give us 5 stars and tell us what you're curious and learning next, or what your biggest takeaway was from this incredible like, thank you so much, Maria, for being on. Like, this is just so
I
much.
I feel like this is like a crap. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna blab about so much shit, but I'm a very multifaceted person. There's a lot of aspects and bits to me. And like, I think it helps to be a well-rounded person in this world and just seeing things from different views. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you're like, well, what do you do? It's like, I'm not just an aesthetics consultant. I don't just talk about plastic surgery all day. Like, there are other pieces to me as a person. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think you can get a lot from a lot of people in different ways. And that's how I educate myself, is I'm like, I agree with you there, but I definitely don't fucking agree. And you take little bits and pieces and make it your own. Do you know what I'm saying? And form your own educated opinions with research.
I love
that's
that.
all.
All right, guys. Well,
go adopt a dog. Okay, that's all.
We will see you in the next episode. So stay tuned. Hopefully by then you will be looking and feeling your best, and we will have Maria back on. So please drop us all those comments. Bye, Irie.
Bye, Irie. Say goodbye. See you later. Okay.